All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third installment of Talks Talk. Today, with the illustrious Captain Dugog,
What's
the
up?
DJ savior of YouTube.
I want to try. I'm really trying with that.
So how are you doing today?
I'm good. Had toast, yummy for dinner, and
Delicious, delicious
coffee.
toast.
Yeah, we're like great. No seasoning, nothing. No butter. Just that's all I had.
Dude, I survive on coffee. Like it's
Oh yeah, likewise.
flows through my veins.
hmm
Uh,
I
so
had like three
for
so far.
for those who don't, yeah, I usually do two or three. It's
Yeah.
how I get through. So for those who don't know who you are, tell the people a little bit about yourself and what you do on YouTube.
Okay, so I'm a kid that moves around a lot, and I'm a turntablist. Uh, I don't know why I picked up the instrument. I did, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to learn how to scratch. There's a long story to that, and we can get into that later. But
Mhm.
over the years, just started getting to a point where I felt like I was more comfortable on camera. So I started covering songs. At first, it was with my buddy Cameron on his YouTube channel, and we have a couple Linkin Park covers on there. I think a couple Korn songs too. I'm not too sure if we actually got any of those like out, but we have a couple other covers on his channel. But I started uploading on mine. It used to be just old dubstep videos from when I was a kid. But then it became turntable covers, and I thought it'd be a good idea as a means to promote what I do, the instrument as a whole, show off some cool music while I'm at it, and maybe get a commission or two out of it. Find some bands that might want a turntablist.
Now,
So
you mentioned dubstep. Was that something you were into when you were younger a lot?
yeah, yeah, I wouldn't even call it a phase. It was literally like I was 12. It was 2012, and Skrillex was a thing.
Hmm.
So that just
I
happened,
remember
and
that.
yeah. And funny enough, I was already in a corn at the time because my dad's like a huge metalhead. So he basically raised me on like Linkin Park, Seether, and then all the grunge stuff. So like Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, and some of the acid rock stuff from the 60s. So I had like a pretty diverse but like somewhat rock and metal oriented upbringing. So I was like already in a corn when I was like 12. And then that dubstep corn album comes out, Path of Totality, I believe.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people really don't like it and have very strong opinions on it, but
It's not that bad.
to my 12-year-old mind, it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard, like ever. I was like, there is no way Skrillex is making love noises over Jonathan Davis scatting. That is like the coolest thing ever.
Get up.
Get up. It was
um
it was sick. It was so cool.
yeah, I've never heard the whole thing. I know the two singles. I know Get Up and Narcissistic
The
Cannibal, I believe.
cannibal, yeah.
And I know like one of their songs, and I thought those were fine, but I just never wanted to listen to a whole album of it.
Yeah, honestly, so some of the tracks are a little bit more forgettable, but the singles do hit hard, and I do come back to a couple of them every now and then because there's a lot of like interesting melodic hooks on there, especially with like the way they use the synths and the vocals and the kind of vocal chopping that goes through. It's like it was a really interesting timepiece. Honestly, I feel like you listen to that and you're like, this is what music was in like 2012.
I remember vividly that when the Corn song came out and it broke and everyone was going crazy, that I started hearing other radio bands like start have dubstep elements in it, and I was like, what is happening?
It's crazy because I feel like modern trap metal, and like a lot of bands that do that, like Jinx, for example, they wouldn't have like the stepping stones to like doing that if it wasn't for Korn. And I don't want to say like, oh, Korn was like the gateway band to like another thing, but because
Yeah,
like they already get that shit with new
Corn
metal
did
like all the
all of
time.
it.
Yeah, and I know they were like, oh yeah, we also invented dubstep. Like that was how they were promoting it. And it was like, guys, I'm sorry, you did not invent dubstep, but um, I do feel like the whole trap metal thing does kind of roll back to like the dubstep metal stuff and like bands kind of using sample drums and MPCs using like the kind of 808 effects and sampling techniques from like the 2010s. And if it wasn't for like metalcore bands also doing it back then, like the modern kind of new wave of new metal bands and trap metal bands coming out wouldn't have really had the balls to do it either, which is really
I
interesting.
I remember the weird experimental metalcore. Like I've never been a metalcore fan. Like occasionally I'll pick and choose with bands, and I'll be like, I'm into this. But I remember when they started getting like weird, or at least the weird bands started floating to the surface.
Yeah.
I vividly remember they had a really stupid name. We
Was
butter the
that
bread with butter.
We buttered the bread with butter.
Yeah,
I've
I
never heard
remember.
of them, but that sounds so believable that even
I
if it wasn't a
remember
band name, I
like
believe you.
they kept it popped up, and they had the same style cover art and the same logo that you, if you walked into a Hot Topic, literally 80 shirts, same design. It was like,
Yeah.
did they just have one artist? But I remember seeing the name and I was like, that's stupid as hell. And then I listened to the music, but they were metalcore, but they had all these weird loops and lots of synth things, and they were kind of bananas all over the place. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is weird. But yeah, like it was a nice like experimentation period for that style of music. And yeah, like mixing nu metal with dubstep, or radio rock with dubstep, was an interesting thing. And while I'm not the biggest fan of the trap metal thing, I'm not going to like shit on people's like experimentation. Like, just keep screwing with stuff. Who cares if I like it? Just there's fans out there. I see it on the nu metal subreddit. There's people who love this stuff.
Yeah.
So just keep going with it.
Yeah, there's some bands that are coming out that are like, I really don't want to have an opinion on them because if I do, it'll upset a lot of people. But I'm just really happy that as a whole that there's like a new breath of life that genre is seeing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've been seeing it for like quite a long time, but it's only really like within the last like 4 to 5 years we've actually seen like it being noticed outside the small bubble of like the subreddit. And
Yeah.
that like it's actually on Twitter. Like what like example like what Kirk's doing on Twitter, I think is insane. The fact that like he has contact like OTEP was on like a voice chat with him and like a couple other 100 people like a couple weeks ago. That's like kind of surreal.
He has picked up an incredible amount of steam.
Very
Like,
much so.
I saw, like, I stumbled upon he was in Metal Hammer.
Yeah, it was so, dude. I don't know, like it's kind of crazy.
What is
Every
happened?
now there's like friends of mine that like don't even listen to metal music, period, and they'll like send me a tweet and they're like, "Is this the Holiday Kirk guy that like you were featured on his album? Like, is this the same guy?" I'm like, "Yeah," and it's so weird that his tweets are now like ending up on like other people's pages.
Yeah,
that, like, you would never expect. It's crazy.
I want to say he's lucked into it, but I'm gonna just assume that he has put in the necessary work to get to the spots he's in.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I remember just talking to him in like the Discords, and like I was like, "Who's this guy? He's got a lot of opinions." But yeah, now he's doing it. So
he's
screw
like
it.
He's so dedicated. It's actually like I have a lot of respect for him for like just how dedicated he is for it. Because there's times where like I get tired of seeing a lot of like an oversaturation of content, especially like on Twitter, and it happens so often where like I'm just looking at it, it's like I really don't want to see this right now. And then with nu metal Twitter, it's kind of the same thing. You'll have like the same talking heads and the same opinions over and over, just like ranting about the same topic every single day. And sometimes it's a little too much, but considering the fact that he can like stir a wave of these people instantly with like a single tweet is really impressive. And just for like musical promotion stuff, like he's done wonders. He's like brought bands back from the dead, which is like kind of insane.
Yeah.
There's bands that
keep going.
Oh, I was just saying, like, he got so many people to get into American Head Charge, like, it's actually insane. I've never seen this many American Head Charge fans.
Like, yeah, American Head Charge was excellent.
Yeah, they were really good.
It's unfortunate what's happened to them, but I mean, yes, like American Head Charge was excellent. And yeah, and I've clearly had my opinions on Kirk, and I've voiced those opinions on Kirk, but to say that I don't respect the hustle would be a lie.
Yeah.
Like he puts in the work, and that guy can divide some people with
for sure.
Yeah, like you said, a single tweet, he will get 500 people like, "Yeah, man, we're behind you," and 500 other people like, "You motherfucker." Like, he does it.
Yeah, dude, sometimes like I go through the nu metal moments and it's like there's no way you're trying to pass Gojira and Weezer off as nu metal. Are you fucking kidding me? But then like people on there will be like defending it. Like, no, actually Gojira was nu metal since Terra Incognita. And it's like, man, maybe I'm like deaf here. Maybe I'm not hearing.
No.
But, like,
I've spent enough time, and I really don't like going on it anymore. but I've spent enough time on the nu metal subreddit to see some ridiculous takes on things like stop trying to rewrite history. Like the things that were yes, there's some blurred lines, but like stop trying to go back and say Rage Against the Machine was nu metal. Maybe Battle of Los Angeles, but not
So my opinion on that is weird because my dad raised me on Rage, but he also raised me on like Linkin Park and a lot of early nu metal stuff. So the bands just blended together, and me not even knowing anything about nu metal growing up, it was just like, oh, they have a rapper and then they got the scratchy noises and bounce riffs. This is nu metal. But I understand that there's like a time period.
Yeah, and that's
we can't separate Rage from nu metal. Whether we call them adjacent to the genre or not is
correct.
Like, yeah, but they were like a defining band in nu metal, regardless whether we want to throw them into the bucket.
They
with
were
the rest of the bands or
they
not.
were a blueprint for a lot of those bands.
Yeah.
And but the time frame, it doesn't literally, but you can hear the sounds. Same with like not the Real Thing, but like the Angel Dust, Faith No More, and then their later stuff.
Oh,
you can hear it. Good God, if you ever told Mike Patton he was nu metal, he'd probably freak the hell out. But
it's kind of crazy how like Mike Patton is seen by like the entire nu metal community as like the godfather, the guy who like helped piece this genre together, and then the guy himself is just like he's just kind of wacky. He's just kind of like,
no, he's probably a dick. Like everything I've ever seen with him in interviews, like he seems like an asshole, but he's incredibly talented. He's probably super insufferable, but I can't deny the guy. Like Faith No More was awesome. Tomahawk was good. I know he has like 5 Mr. Bungle. And there's a bunch of other ones, but
Phantomos and
Phantom. Oh my! The first time I heard Phantomos was like 2002, 2001, and I was like, I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is.
I love his experimentation. The avant-garde nature of his music is very, very interesting, whether we like it or not. I do like the last Mr. Bungle release, I believe it was like a demo originally.
Was that the death metal one?
Yeah, that shit was good. I like that.
Yeah, that was heavy. There's stuff about why they hired Faith No More, why they originally hired Mike Patton to come into the band to replace was it Mosley? I think Chuck.
I believe so. Yeah, Chuck Mosley,
the old guy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of his clean stuff. It was because of his like metal range in the bands he was, which probably was Mr. Bungle, if I remember right. Yeah. Like the early stuff, like that's what they were like, this guy's crazy, we need to bring him into our band, and then they got Epic out of it. But all that sort of stuff, while I'll never call it nu metal, it was definitely stepping stones for the genre.
So, I tend to make the argument with bands like Stuck Mojo because I hold them dearly to my heart. I love Stuck Mojo so much.
The one album you told me to listen to, is Pigwalk.
Pigwalk, it's the second album from '96.
I like that one.
You know, Devin Townsend worked on that record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Townsend had his finger in a lot of stuff in the 90s. Well, he still does, but.
And Daniel Bergstrand, the guy who made Meshuggah's records. So the reason the guitar tone is that like full and crunchy is like it has the Meshuggah guitar tone, which is like insane. And you got like Rich Ward, who's like a guitar god. But my argument was I
was gonna say, was it Kirk's Twitter that made the fake news post about Meshuggah and nu metal?
Yeah.
That got me.
that was so funny.
I saw it and I was like, what? And then I went to go find the news article. I'm like, oh, that motherfucker.
I found it was so good. Like the fucking Meshuggah had a turntablist and he helped inspire the band's sound. I sent that to a bunch of my friends. I was like, yeah, guys, Meshuggah's nu metal now. And they're like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, yeah, you just gotta believe it, dude.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
I appreciate a good troll every once in a
while. But what I was saying about Stuck Mojo is like they had the nu metal blueprint all the way back in '89 when they formed. A lot of their songs like Snap and Necks, the beginning of the end, and what else? I guess like Propaganda, and like basically like a lot of their first album was already written back in like '89 to '91, and that is considered new metal. Like their 95 record is considered new metal, but when they were playing the songs back in 91 and 93, it wasn't considered new metal because I
Yeah,
guess like
because
the
it
genre
wasn't.
wasn't established yet,
Yeah,
right? It didn't even have like a general blueprint. But Mojo, I see them getting thrown around, is like especially in like it's not Metal Hammer, but there's this other YouTube channel that did this new metal documentary series, and Stuck Mojo was mentioned and actually put on there. They got Rich Ward on a couple of interviews, and it was really interesting to actually get his take on it because I feel like he's them and a lot of other bands that were like really early adopters into the genre just like are completely ignored because it's like Korn invented it and no one
yeah.
else did.
They definitely
And
didn't take from anyone at
yeah,
all.
yeah, they just kind of they were born in like little test tubes and then they were raised really quickly
Yeah.
and within a year they wrote blind, right?
Hmm.
That's how it happened. At least that's how the subreddit wants us to believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay.
Ugh.
So one of the things I do on this show of mine is I ask my guests to bring 3 albums to the table that they would like to talk about. Like it doesn't have to be new metal. It can be whatever you want, and you just gush about it. You tell me
Okay.
what you love about it.
So, for the 3 albums that I picked, I wanted to stay a little thematic to what I do and
Okay.
the stuff that I genuinely enjoy. So, I get. Do I just go in order, or do I bring one out?
We'll do one at a time, and
Okay.
then we'll come back to it later on.
Okay. Well, since I know you like them a lot too, let's
Mhm.
talk about Lifer's first record.
Yay!
I love Lifer. They're awesome. I know Kirk doesn't quite like them too much. Every
What?
time they're mentioned on
Oh
Twitter,
my
he's just
god!
like, how do you feel about their vocals though?" Or like he's always
I
like
like his
kind of
vocals.
questioning. I like him too. I really like Nick Cole, and he's a really good singer. Lifer's awesome. Their first album is sick, and their turntablist DJ Worm Tony, insane on the decks. Like he's inspirationally good, and I really try to be as technical as he is. I'm like surprised with how technical he managed to get some of the scratching on that record to be.
He
Um,
also had a thing about instead of just making the noises,
mhm.
like he created atmospheres in some of the songs.
Yeah, there's like these kind of like wind.
Blurred comes to mind.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I know what you mean. Those are like white noise riser effects. So you could probably just hit a low pass filter with some white noise and then just kind of scratch like slowly and then use like a reverb or something and you get this like really cool like washy effect. Um what's his name? Yeah, Frank Delgado from Deftones does that quite a lot in a lot of their music, especially like on the White Pony stuff onwards. Like people, they have a turntablist, but they don't expect like proper scratching in their songs, even though he's like technically done scratching on their first record as well. Minus Blindfold comes to mind as like one of the songs where there's like
yeah,
actual scratching. Yeah. But he wasn't in the band. He was just like an in studio
yeah, he
turntablist
wasn't
they brought
officially a
in.
member until White Pony, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
he did tour with them on Around the Fur because on MX, I saw this live show. It was actually really funny where they were playing MX and they roll out these turntable decks and Frank is like walking along with them and he just kind of hides under his table until this little section of the song where he needs to scratch something. Just it's like an ambient like vocal loop that he just scratches throughout MX. He just scratches it for like the 15 seconds and then he just ducks under his table again so like no one looks at him because I guess he wasn't in the band so he couldn't have been on stage. But
Uh,
that was really funny. And that kind of like sampling and layering effect where you're getting like white noise and creating ambience is like a really interesting thing that I feel like is really unique with turntables that you can do really well. And yeah, Tony from Lifer, he does that really well as well. So he's like both a really technical turntablist, but I just love the sounds that come out of his decks. Like he's done some really creative stuff. And he's drumming for them now too. He's
oh, see, I didn't
yeah.
know that. I've heard at least a couple of the newer songs, and
Yeah.
they're all right. I just wish they were a little bit more like the first album.
Yeah.
It's it's ridiculous of me to expect that, like
Yeah,
20
yeah.
years later.
Yeah.
Um,
They've all kind of the musically have like shifted. I know like Nick was in Cold for a bit. I think he still might be in Cold, and the
yeah,
rest of the guys are in Breaking Benjamin. So like they went down the kind of post grungy alternative metal sound. They're less of that oh yeah, new metal raps
Well, yeah, it
kind
helped
of
that
thing.
the other guys were in Breaking Benjamin for a
Oh
while.
yeah, for sure.
And then he did the Drama Club, and then he did. There was some other band he was in. I can't remember what it was. Stardog Champion.
You know what? I need to check these out now because anything related to Lifer is stuff that I want to jump
The
on.
Drama Club is better than I think. Stardog Champion actually might have the Breaking Benjamin guys in it. It just
Okay.
wasn't. It was okay. Drama Club was good. They were catchy.
Okay.
It was a bit softer. It was more alternative.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
when did you first hear what?
Lifer?
Yeah, when did you first hear
Okay.
Lifer?
Was it like 2 years ago? I jumped onto them pretty late. I found them on a compilation. I found them on a Has Sub video, funny
Okay.
enough. Yeah, it was on specifically the new metal of the best style Has Sub video where it's funny enough, I feel like that dude just loves turntables because that entire video is just like the turntable scratch solo sections or breakdowns of certain songs. And it was I think it was boring. I'm pretty sure it was boring, and it was like that little turntable section where the sample note is like going down in pitch, and then it keeps getting scratched in like sixteenths and triplets, and it was like really interesting. And I heard it, and I was like, "That's a really unique sound," and I don't quite know how to do it. So I practiced, and I managed to actually make a sample that sounds pretty similar. So what I'm trying to say is boring cover coming up next on my
Good.
YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, my other Lifer cover actually turned out pretty good. And My Room is a pretty tough song just because I feel like the scratching is really technical, like all throughout. And it's like all throughout the song too. It's not like it's the one section where it's like, yeah, turntable guy, go do your thing.
Yeah,
Make the
I
wiki
think
noise.
My Room, like Boring was the one I heard first, but
Hmm.
My Room, like the scratching in that song, even from somebody who doesn't know how to use turntables,
Yeah.
like for the longest time of that song, I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but it
It's really
sounds
technical.
ridiculous.
It's really cool. I wish I could hear stems of the recordings of just a lot of their songs because there's some songs that are just I have no idea what's happening on the turntables and I just want to like hear it distinctly. I feel like if I can hear a little snippet, I can like pick out a sample and try and recreate it. That's what I end up doing for a lot of my covers. If I don't have the samples, I try and make my own. And I do that a lot with like my own music as well. Like I make in-house samples. A lot of turntablists end up doing that. I feel like he probably did that on a couple of them because some of those samples are like not recognizable at all, and other ones are like you could probably find these on like sample decks. They make like these vinyls. At least they used to like back in the day. They'd press vinyls with just little sound clips and samples from like 80s, 90s, all the way up down to like the 60s. Just like vocal chops, drum loops, white
That make
noise,
that makes
sine
a lot of
waves.
sense, and it
Yeah,
sounds like it'd be something super useful.
yeah. So a lot of turntablists back in like the 90s and 2000s would just buy those like sample vinyls and they'd have basically everything you need. Those were made for like battle scratch DJs, but then a lot of battle scratch DJs happen to also be in bands, at least in the 2000s and 90s. So like
Right.
Chris Kilmore, he was part of the Jedi Knights, which was a scratch crew in Pennsylvania. And then he joined Incubus after
Oh, okay.
DJ Leif got kicked out.
Wait, when did DJ Life get kicked out?
He got kicked out during the touring for Science.
Oh,
Yeah, if you watch videos of the Science tours, there's like I don't know what month it is, but there's like a distinct month where Life stops showing up and then like Kilmore joins and they even make like an announcement. They're like, "We have a new DJ, we have a new turntablist, check it out. It's DJ Kilmore." And then he'll do like some cool like drum loop intro thing.
I don't think it ever occurred to me that they had multiple DJs.
Yeah.
So I
And
just remember the name DJ Life and just kind of in my head had just yeah, he's been the DJ the whole time.
yeah, no,
So you
Life got
telling me
kicked
that has
out in
just
like
blown my
98.
mind.
98. Like I'm pretty sure he got kicked out in 98.
Okay.
Yeah, so he did Science and then he did Enjoy Incubus, where they re-recorded songs from Fungus Among Us
Hmm.
because Fungus Among Us doesn't have any scratching on it. That doesn't make it less fun. It's still a fun record, but the EP, the scratching and the turntablism on that is like really exquisite. It's like really interesting stuff. And
I don't think I've ever actually heard Enjoy Incubus. And this is coming from somebody who I think I own it.
okay, you need a
I think I
okay.
found it somewhere and I was like, I don't know what this is.
Shaft is such a fun song. Um, it's just like it's really heavy and the sample is just like the screaming lady that's just scratched over and over It's like this whop, 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 and it's like, I don't know. There's something about it that's really enjoyable, of like scratching the noise of some screaming old lady. I did a cover of it on my channel once, and I did some like additional like percussive and like rhythm section parts that sounded really cool. It's really funky, and I do like that aspect of Incubus's music, and the addition of turntables and funk elements into new metal is like super fun. It's like bolognese. Love it.
So, circling back around,
Yeah.
you've mentioned that you were on the Holiday Kirk album. You were on Come Here.
Yes.
Were you on the EP too?
Yes, I was.
So when did that come together? Like,
So
you working with him?
I did a cover of Elite by Deftones,
Mhm.
and it was like during the time Eros was like gonna come out. It was like a week or two before Eros came out, and me being cheeky, I put Eros in like the tags. No, not Eros. Ohms. Whoops.
Yeah.
Ohms, not Eros. Okay, yeah.
I was like,
Whoops.
Arrows never came out.
Eros never came out. Good. No, not good. We need Eros now.
I would love to hear it.
Please. Yeah, Ohms. So Ohms was coming out, and I put Ohms in the tags, and I was like, maybe people will find my cover if I put Ohms in the tags, right? And then like
It's
a
a smart
day
thing
or
to
two.
do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scummy, but like at the same time, it's like I need the views too. Like I have like
Nah,
a
hustle.
couple.
Do it.
Yeah, let's do it. We got this. The hustle's real. Well, he ends up finding it and he comments and he's just like, hey, can you like contact me on like Twitter or something? I have like a project for you that I want to work on.
Mhm.
And so like this is in like late 2020. I had nothing else going on at the time, so because I was just stuck at home. And so I was like, okay, cool. First actual commission artist. And I found he sent me his SoundCloud, and he had a couple demos for a song called Rust that ended up being The Lonesome Crowded Room. I don't remember the entire name of the song.
Oh,
One
that's
called,
the rip-off trust company name? Okay.
yeah, the Trust Company song.
Yeah.
And then a couple other demos, and then eventually like the rest of the album, including Army of Me, which yeah, that was a really fun song to work on. But and I just kind of worked with him over like a 4 to 5 month period on that album and EP. So interestingly, a lot of the songs that were on the EP were technically B-sides for the album. They were supposed to be on the album, but because of track listing,
Yeah.
a lot of the songs ended up getting like shafted and then moved into EP. Some of the songs are completely unreleased. I still have them like on my PC, and every now and then I just think maybe I should like just drop these on my YouTube channel every now and then, because like no one's gonna hear them. Like Holiday at this point in time he has a title for the new album. He has a couple demos,
Mhm.
but he doesn't want me working on them right now because he's like, this is still all up in the air, and I'm busy running the Twitter account. So at this point, I'm just kind of sitting down, waiting for him. But there is a second album. I don't know when that's gonna come out, but yeah, I worked on, I guess, like almost all the songs on that album. I'd say like apart from like two or three of them, I don't. I remember working on the song Eros. I believe the song is called Eros.
Yeah, is
Um,
that the one that Orion's
the
on?
instru- yeah.
Okay.
So Orion and I worked on that song together, and Orion also did some synths and some drumming throughout the record.
Mhm.
And it wasn't the first time Orion and I worked together, because Orion and I did some stuff for like his IDM, like drum and bass, like side project that he
Yeah,
did. I
the
guess
one
his,
that's
yeah,
Orion with like three eyes or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was like the first time him and I started working together. But it was like the first time like all three of us actually worked on something, and it was really cool. I feel like it was an organic process. Although Kirk is really tough, and there's times where he's made me redo and rewrite entire sections of the song, like at least the turntable sections and the synths and all that stuff that I ended up having to do. Like over and over. Like I swear, I feel like I've recorded Eros 5 times and Come Here like at least 5 or 6 times. And Get in the Urn, there's a Captain Dugog remix of Get in the Urn that no one's gonna hear because it got scrapped halfway through. And he's like, actually, I don't think there should be scratching on this one because Hanny Slip's featured on it. Which, by the way, I don't want to work with Hanny Slip ever again. I have bad stories of
I'm not
working with
even sure
that
if I know
guy.
who that is. I remember the name mentioned because I've heard all of Come Here.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. He's on Getting the Urn, and I think he might have been on another song. He's like the guy with the super deep voice who's like rapping on that
okay.
like 1 minute track. Yeah. I don't know if I want to continue talking about it, but
That's okay.
yeah, no. But overall, like as an album and as like a first, it was really interesting. It was really fun. And when it came out too, at least he like kind of contacted me like a couple weeks before it came out. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release it now." It's like, okay, I get sure.
Yeah.
There was a couple things I wanted to like change up and stuff, and he actually let me do that. I ended up re-recording a couple things for "Come Here." There's a little sample during the breakdown of that song. It's a really fun sample. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's like a "You ready to kick some ass?" And it's like I scratched that on my turntables. It's actually a sample from the game Heroes of the Storm. It's like a Blizzard
Yeah, no, I
IP.
know. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the MOBA games, I think.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the character. It's like one of the character Gazlo. He's like the guy. I love that guy. Gazlo's fucking awesome. And yeah, it's just one of his voice lines. I sample video games a lot. Video game
Which is
characters.
really cool.
Yeah. Um, like a lot of World of Warcraft sounds goes into my music. There's on Come Here. There's actually that the main scratching section, and on some of the stuff I've worked on with Santiago, there's a song that him and I actually put together recently. I don't even know if it's out yet. It might be on his Bandcamp, but I'm not too sure. The main scratching section is a sample of a spider dying in World of Warcraft, and I just sampled it and then like scratched that. And that was like the main sample for
That is
that
awesome.
song. Yeah, that song is heavy as fuck too. I need to send it to you if you haven't heard it yet.
I have
You can
not
probably
heard
ask
it.
him about it. Yeah, it's like a demo. It's
So,
really cool.
so you taking samples from video games. Are you a big gamer, or have you been?
Yeah. I do. Well, I haven't been as of recently because I've been really busy with my classes,
Mm-hmm.
or so I say. I'm
Which are
doing.
important.
I'm doing well. But yeah, I guess because of that, I haven't been gaming as much as I want to. There's a lot of games I want to catch up with, like Dark Souls 2. I actually just started playing that recently. My buddy Eduardo actually bought that for me, and I really want to get to it, but I've
I'm
just
currently doing Bloodborne.
Oh, you're playing Bloodborne? Okay, how is it? You enjoying it so far?
Rough.
Yeah,
I've
it's
beaten Dark Souls 3, and I tried playing Bloodborne immediately afterwards. Made it like an hour in, and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Damn.
I'm
I'm
done.
like,
And then so it was like 4-year gap. And
yeah.
then like within the last month, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try Bloodborne. And
hmm
now I'm 5 bosses in, and
Okay.
it's just getting worse.
So you played Dark Souls 3, right? So
Yeah.
I beat the cathedral boss in that snow level area. I don't remember exactly where it is. The guy with the two swords, the
Oh
purple
my
and the
god.
yeah, I beat him
He
recently.
he gave me a fit. I almost broke my controller with that guy. I hate that
Yeah,
guy.
and the build I'm going for is like a dexterity and luck build where I only use the notched whip. So
No,
yeah,
mine has always been power. I'm going to beat the
yeah,
crap out of you. Because
yeah.
that's how I like. I'm not elusive enough to
hmm
do anything else.
Yeah, I just like using the whip because I think it's such a funny weapon, and
Yeah,
the amount of
for a Dark
stagger,
Souls game, yeah.
dude, the amount of stagger whips give in that game is incredible. There's some mobs I didn't even think you could stagger, but then you hit them with a whip and they just go. It's like, God
Which
damn,
is
okay,
that's how you beat those games. Is
yeah,
like getting them to like
just get
stagger
stun
or
locked in
like
like a
stun
loop.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, you get them in a stun lock loop, and then like it's just easy. I say that, but then you get hit once and die instantly because you don't put
Yeah,
any of your
those games
points
are
into.
rough.
Yeah, they are. And so Dark Souls 2 is something I've been wanting to play. And actually, I've been thinking of like sampling a couple things from Dark Souls. So you might hear it in some like new music as well, some like
Which would
sound
be really cool.
effects.
The Dark Souls soundtracks are I
Dude,
love them.
they're
They're
so
so
good.
good.
They're so cinematic. You just put them on, you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden there's like a dragon flying above
Yeah,
you.
no, the
Yeah.
boss themes, especially in 3. Oh,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. I go back and listen to them quite a lot. They epic. That's like the only way to describe them. They very cinematic feeling. I
Yeah.
really like that.
And you're gonna hear them a lot.
Yeah,
Again and again.
especially when you keep dying over and over. It's like
You're like, I really
dude,
like this song, but I would really like to, not take 25 tries to beat this boss.
dude,
Which
I
that
feel
was a
I
few
feel
of them.
like by the time like you finish the boss, you don't want to hear the song anymore. You're like, actually, fuck it. I don't want to hear this. Like,
and then you hear it on like Spotify, and you're like traumatized.
yeah, you get like numb flashbacks. You're like, oh.
There's still only, I've beaten Dark Souls 3. There's still only one boss in that game. The DLC, I haven't beaten all of them. But there's only one regular game boss that I haven't beaten. And I've tried like 40 or 50 times and I can't do it.
Okay. Is it like an end game boss or is it?
He's very close to the end.
Okay. I'm like halfway through the game, so like
okay.
I don't know all the bosses yet.
He's hidden. You have to go to a special place to go fight him. And
I did find the DLC stuff by accident. Like I went to the painting and I killed the old lady, and then I accidentally got transported to the snow area. I was like, oh, dude, well, I guess I'm in that
snow area is rough.
Yeah, those Vikings are crazy. It's a really cool zone, like the giant flies and the wolves and stuff.
Yeah, no, it is beautiful. Those games are beautiful. They're just very ruthless.
Yeah. I assume Bloodborne's like that too. Like, and are you playing it on console?
No, I'm playing on a PC right now.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no. What am I talking about? I'm playing on a PS4.
Okay, yeah, because it's like an exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I have it on PS4. It's because when I was playing Dark Souls 3, I was doing that on
PC.
PC. So,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I'm playing it on PlayStation 4.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a bit more gothic. Also has more who's the Cthulhu guy? Lovecraft.
Okay,
that sort of shit.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of it. But yeah, and it's also like super gross sometimes. But it is lovely. Like,
yeah.
Like the architecture is wonderful. But I love Dark Souls 3 too. And what I've played of Dark Souls 2, which I've never beaten a boss in Dark Souls 2. So I played it after the fact, and I was like,
yeah. Yeah, Dark Souls 2 is really interesting because it feels somewhat dated, but I do love like the aesthetic that game has. It feels like even though it does feel aged, it feels more like a wine. If the game was like wine, it would be. It
doesn't look as rough as Dark Souls 1 does. Although they did remaster.
Yeah, they did. They remastered the first one.
But like Dark Souls 1 still looks a little wonky.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like sometimes it gives those games charm. Like them feeling a little dated. It's just like, this is what we had to work with, and it looked fine then. It probably still plays like you're probably still gonna die like a million times, regardless.
Just re-smooth Skyrim again. Release it, put it out. You're good.
Dude, the modders have been doing a better job at that than like the devs have at Bethesda. Like the modders have been like a top notch since like the game's release.
No,
and,
the modded version of Skyrim that the PC people have that you can get for free
is like infinitely better
than the remastered special version that they put up for like $60.
Yeah.
Like
for the 12th time, by the way.
Yeah.
Tough.
I've got my version on 360. I'm okay.
Oh man, I actually got the special edition on Steam somewhat recently, and I've been playing that with my friends. Watch every now and then when I get the time to. I'm playing an orc character, just roaming around killing mammoths and shit.
I think about it every once in a while. Like I'm like, because I never beat Skyrim. I was much more of a Fallout guy, and those games are very similar to one another. It's just locale very different. So I beat the crap out of Fallout 3 and New Vegas before I even touched Skyrim. So then I touched Skyrim and I was like, I mean, it's all right, but it's Fallout and I have a sword and there's dragons.
Yeah.
All right.
There's something about single player RPG games where it's like they either really draw you in or you're just like, actually, I'm not too interested in this. I feel like it's either or for me. Like a lot of the time with single player RPGs, I do play a lot of multiplayer games. So a lot of the time, it's when it comes to single player RPGs, it's like I have to really be dedicated into like enjoying the story and content that the game is offering in order to actually complete it. Or I end up just jumping back onto voice chat with my buddies and playing Counter-Strike or something. Because talking shit and playing video games is fun.
Yeah, I went through a long period where I was mostly doing multiplayer games because all my friends were also doing them, so it made sense. But then like as they've been kind of like dropping off, like I found myself doing more single player stuff because I don't want to play with a bunch of random people.
Likewise.
I put 150 hours into Death Stranding.
Okay.
Do you know what that
You know what? Yeah, walking sim.
Yeah. Well, it's a walking sim for a little bit, and then you get vehicles. and then you get zip lines, which make the game a lot easier. But
Well,
it's made by the Metal Gear guy, and the
yeah.
story is nutso.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen gameplay. Death Stranding looks really cool, and also I'm not hating on walking sims. I play Elite Dangerous. That game is like it's basically like Euro Truck Simulator except in space. You're just
Oh,
delivering packages in space, and it's actually a 1-to-1 replica scale of the Milky Way galaxy. It's genuinely a really well put together game.
what's it
It
called?
function Elite Dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both multiplayer and single player. It's somewhat an MMO, but also like a single player RPG where like you can run into other players, but the galaxy's so big you're probably never going to run into any other
Yeah,
players.
so it would be like
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Because yeah, in the real Milky Way, if you were out there with a bunch of people, you probably wouldn't see many of them.
Yeah, and it's like a couple thousand years in the future. Light speed travel is a thing. Cold fusion is just a regular thing. Funny enough, alcohol is considered an illicit drug on certain galaxies, in like certain parts of the galaxy. So whoa,
Yeah,
um,
crazy stuff.
yeah. So I guess I don't know what happens in 1,000 years from now, but goddamn, prohibition really hits
Had
hard.
enough.
Yeah. That game is like insanely interesting. And if you are into like sci-fi stuff, I genuinely recommend checking it. It has like VR support as well, which is like don't play it in
I've still
VR.
never done VR.
Don't do it. You're actually gonna die. It's awful. It's like you put on a VR headset while playing Elite Dangerous. It's probably the scariest thing you could do because the game is like it's a first person game. You're playing as like the pilot of a ship, so you can see your control board and you can see this giant screen, and then what separates you from like like instant death is like this little thin piece of glass. It's yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, no thanks.
Space is scary. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
terrifying.
until they make VR completely compatible with people who have glasses, or until I get LASIK surgery, which I've considered before.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not gonna mess with VR. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
fair enough.
will. I'm gonna look into that because I do like sci-fi stuff and I love
Okay.
space stuff.
Yeah, I have a couple hundred hours in Stellaris, which that's
I
like
know what
a
Stellaris is.
yeah, and I play Stellaris. That Stellaris is a game I come back to like almost every couple of weeks. I play a Stellaris game with my buddies, and we play a multiplayer game, and someone gets annexed, and then we all quit.
Oh, it sucks. Yeah,
That's just how it
I've heard
goes.
stories of people putting like real money into those ships in Stellaris,
It
and then them getting
oh
destroyed.
okay, that might be Eve Online.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I'm thinking of
okay.
Eve Online.
Yeah, no, so I mean Stellaris conceptual so it's like EVE Online but RTS. Like
Oh,
it's not
okay,
yeah, so it's like real-time strategy EVE Online. And like
okay,
you create like an empire and a race and you can like write a backstory. It's like playing Warhammer, you're role playing Warhammer essentially.
okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really fun.
So, back to the
Yeah, we
albums.
got to we got to talk about music.
What is
Whoops.
your second album that you would like to talk
Okay.
about?
I want to bring out $3 Bill, y'all, because
Good.
there's something about that album that no one talks about, and I think is really interesting.
Mhm.
And I also just want to like mention DJ Lethal because like what a phenomenal turntablist he is. He like single-handedly helped like invent distorted turntable scratching, which I believe wasn't really a thing before he started doing it. He runs his turntables through a Marshall stack.
Oh,
Um,
I see.
he,
I did not know that.
yeah, so that like distinct scratch sound he gets, where it almost sounds like him emulating a guitar, funny enough, comes full circle with Rage Against the Machine with Tom Morello trying to emulate turntables by scratching his guitar strings and using a kill switch. Lethal tried to emulate a guitar by running his turntables through a guitar system, like a guitar amp system,
That's
and then
actually
using
super
like
interesting.
yeah, so it comes full circle, and him doing that with Limp Bizkit was his way of bringing like in a more aggressive sound of like just general turntablism because he did come from House of Pain and like
Yes.
he made a lot of their tracks, but and he scratched in a lot of their tracks. And if you listen to a lot of House of Pain tracks, the scratching it's not that it's mediocre, but it's it's what you expect from like 90s hip hop scratching. It's very
Yeah.
much like fresh and stuff like that. It's and kind of beat looping and stuff like that, sampling a horse making loud noise like West Coast hip hop stuff and looping that every bar. But with Limp Bizkit, it was like he completely changed the game, and I feel like turntablists nowadays. I can probably mention. I don't know if like Musin listens to early Limp Bizkit, but I can definitely hear like Musin from Tala. Like a lot of the style of scratching he does, like I hear it in my head and I instantly think back to Limp Bizkit's first album because, and I take a lot of inspiration from Limp Bizkit. In fact, hold on, let me show you this.
Yeah.
I got myself. It's a kind of dinky multi effects pedal board, but for whenever
That's
I did
cool.
whenever I did live shows, I did a couple. They weren't great,
With
but
bands or solo?
with bands.
Okay.
Yeah, there's videos out there. They're not great, but they were fun. And I got myself a multi effects board so I can basically emulate Digitech whammy effects and
Mhm.
add distortion to my scratching. And I actually do this in a lot of our music in both Dropspike. I've done it in some of Holiday Crick stuff. In Army of Me, there's a little bit of distortion on the scratching. In my other band with Emil, my buddy who's the guitar player,
Is that the cult of
Apotheosis.
yeah, yeah.
It's a cult of Apotheosis. A lot of the scratching is running through either this board or through like pedal effects that I have like on my DAW. And yeah, Lethal is insane. And I feel like what he brings to this album and what he brings to Limp Bizkit is something that turntablists need more of and less of the more traditional white noise off fresh scratching and like just being creative with sounds in themselves.
Speaking on that, I feel that in interviews he talked about how the only way he was joining Limp Bizkit was his thing was that he was like, I'm not doing normal scratching. Like that's
Yeah.
the only way I'm gonna join.
So I don't
And
know
they
if
were
you've
like, yeah, do whatever you want.
like in songs like Counterfeit, like in Sour. Well, actually, if we just talk about Counterfeit and songs like Nobody Loves Me, there's scratching in those songs that's like layered into the riff that like if you like split the guitar track into two, you'll notice like the scratching is emulating the guitar track. So it's actually scratching the rhythm section of the guitar.
Yeah.
Which is like
no,
really
it's like,
cool.
yeah, it gives it it's part of the reason why $3 Bill is often considered like the heaviest Limp Bizkit album because of the way it's layered. Whereas it's not quite the same way on the later albums. Like it's far more separated.
Yeah.
But that's also like the evolution of Wes Borland too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it just goes in and just makes it like the guitar sound far more menacing with the added layer in there.
Yeah. For sure. And I think on songs where like the turntables are like separated from the rest of the track and you can actually hear them pretty distinctly, you can hear this like sharper, almost fuzzier sound because of the Marshall stack. And I guess the equipment at the time maybe not having the best kind of noise gate to like mitigate that. I feel like it adds a lot to the charm. Songs like Clunk, for example, or shit, even their the George Michael cover like on Faith or on Leech, like this the scratching is like super sharp. It's like metaphorically it's like a blade just like cutting through the track and I feel like that is so aggressive and just adds to it and I there's something about it that's so charming to me and I don't know, it makes me feel all warm inside. It's like I really just want to make something like as aggressive and as angry as this,
which is a great feeling to have, and it's good to take inspiration from something like that.
yeah.
Like I remember $3, like even though technically my first hearing of Limp Bizkit was Faith. Faith was the first song I ever heard. I didn't hear $3 Bill until after Significant Other.
Okay.
So I'd heard Significant, like Nookie came out and blew up. And like that album blew up. And then I heard all of Significant Other, was into it. And then I heard $3 Bill. And I was like, oh, this is a lot rougher than I was expecting.
Yeah. It's kind of like Deftones too. I feel like
Adrenaline took me a while
Adrenaline
to get into
is
too.
super rough. Yeah, it's weird because I always get drawn back to both Adrenaline and $3 Bill, y'all, as like my favorite records for those bands. Like Adrenaline is my favorite Deftones record. Like period. I will fight for Adrenaline.
White Pony was the first one I heard, so I had to do a major jump. So like then I heard Around the Fur and I was like that's good. I like this. And then I heard Adrenaline. I was like, oh.
This is like garage band stuff, yeah.
And I was the same way with Korn. Like Follow the Leader was my first Korn album. And then to go back to the self-titled, it was like, oh, these are all. So it's taken me a while, but I've gone back to all the lower fi new metal bands.
Yeah.
And like I have a newfound appreciation for them now. Even I was gonna say even one I've spoken out against, which is the first Seven Dust album.
You don't like the first Seven Dust album?
I'm coming around to it.
Okay.
I didn't like it for the longest time, but I also wasn't the biggest Seven Dust fan. But as that has increased, like I'm like, oh, you know what? Seven Dust, like I thought for the longest time they had like Godsmack syndrome, where like
Okay.
a lot of the stuff sounded like the same.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I started actually checking out more of the albums, and I was like, oh, you know what? No, they have an identity, and they're actually like there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So I've come around to the first album more so than now. It's still like fifth of theirs for me.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Because I think
what's your favorite Seven Dust album?
Seasons.
Seasons. Okay. Wow. I mean,
Seasons?
I hear people say like Orion likes Seasons. I talked to him about this because
Seasons is my favorite, and I think Home is coming around to second.
Okay.
And then Animosity's in there, and I really like Next.
I like Next as well. Next is awesome. Next is so overlooked. Everyone listens to the first 3 or 4 Seven Dust albums and like, okay, that's the band for me. But dude, okay, I love Clint Lowry. He is such a good guitar player, and he followed me on Twitter this one time. Then like unfollowed me for whatever reason.
That rude motherfucker.
Nah, I love him. I love him. But
burn your Dark New Day albums.
Oh. And yeah, so I guess when he left the band and they got Sonny Mayo, like you could hear Sonny's guitar influence on that album. It's much heavier.
He was on 2 albums, right?
I think it was all the way until Cold Day's Memory. Like Sonny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was on whatever the Blue album is.
The Blue I called it the Blue album as well.
Chapter Something in Sorrow.
Yeah.
I
can go check for you real quick. So
I remember there was a single from that album that I heard a bunch, and then
was it the infamous single from that album? Because there is like a single on there that has like a little bit of infamy. Yeah, Hope and Sorrow.
Yeah, Hope and Sorrow.
Yeah.
No, it's whatever the first single was.
Okay.
Which I think was super melodic, and I was just kind of like, I think I'm good.
Okay, there's a song on that album called "The Past" that is like infamously known as like a song that I don't know. Should I say her name? I think I forgot her name too. The lady that drowned her daughter. I don't actually. Maybe we shouldn't talk about this because okay, yeah, no, it's crazy. Hold on, what was her name? Casey Anthony. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Casey Anthony's like a huge Seven Dust fan. She like loves the band. They're like one of her favorite bands. And then so during the time of her trial, she was like listening to The Past by Seven Dust like on loop. And then like some Fox reporter was like, "Oh, heavy nu metal band Seven Dust has made Casey Anthony kill her daughter with evil heavy metal music."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And like that song got known for that, and Seven Dust talked about it every now and then. They're like, "Yeah, we don't know anything about Casey Anthony, and she's probably a terrible person, and we have nothing to do with her."
It's the Judas Priest pull the trigger shoot thing all over again.
Yeah, it's like heavy metal music making women drown their children. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like coming back to Seven Dust's first album, that's like. I think relative to Seven Dust, that's like the first album I actually listened to for them. And like I heard Bitch, I heard Black, I heard Face and Speak, and I was like, dude, this is my shit. Because I love Stuck Mojo, and Stuck Mojo and Seven Dust are from the same scene. They're both from like the Atlanta, Georgia like metal scene. And they both used to tour together a lot. And actually Bones is the reason why LJ is in Seven Dust. I think
that's
Bones
cool.
Bones introduced LJ to the rest of the guys. So like they're all pretty good friends. And I was like really into it's not that like I like the southern rock sound, but there's like something really charming about like southern influence in like metal music when it's not corny. I don't want to say corny like Pantera, but I'm not like the hugest Pantera guy. Or like Black Label.
I've kind of waned on them. Like I liked them a lot when I was younger, and it's kind of fallen off.
Yeah. So like them and like Black Label, like when they kind of do like the
Black
southern
Label,
bluesy, when they do like the southern bluesy rock thing, it's like, yeah, give me a beer. It kills me. I can't do it. Even though I do have like a lot of family from the South too, but like I don't know, it's just not my music.
Have you ever heard maybe because you were in a server with Star, maybe you've heard it. Have you ever heard Vision of Disorder's Southern new metal album?
No, but I've
Ballistic
heard
Devastation.
No, I haven't, but I have heard Vision of Disorders like two. I've heard two of their albums. Is their Southern one the Flower one?
Yes.
Okay, then I have heard it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
it's where they like dropped the hardcore and like had a southern new metal vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
like I like it when it's a little charming. I feel like bands like Saliva sometimes will work for me. Sometimes
Saliva's a weird one.
yeah, it's like I will unironically jam out to
God damn it.
click click boom. I'm sorry. I like the song is so fun. I first heard it when I was like 14 and I was like, this is my shit. This is so good.
This speaks to me.
Yeah. There was something about like 14-year-old edgy Doug living in the Middle East going like, yeah, I
I
love this
was a kid
song.
with a pad and a pen and a big imagination.
Yeah. Plus, I thought it was really funny that there was that story about how like the fucking feds used "Click Click Boom" as a torture track in like Guantanamo Bay or something, and I was like,
That
Jesus.
playlist was like half new metal.
Yeah, and it was like honestly, this is so funny because I'm living in the Middle East at the time. I just thought like, oh yeah, this is like perfect,
You're like,
right? I can
yeah.
piss people, I'll piss off my neighbors. Actually, none of my neighbors were like Middle Eastern, but still, like, yeah, I'd piss off the locals. But no, but yeah, I got into them that way, and like it's the same thing with like with Seven Dust. Like coming back to it, like LJ has this really powerful voice, and he clearly has like this R&B influence with how he sings, and I find it really
Yeah.
interesting
He's got a
how
very smooth, clean voice.
and when he screams, it's like it's gruff, and there's something about the way he screams. And I know the other band members also do some of the vocals, like Clinton Morgan, or like
Yeah, they do
very
the
heavy.
backup stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, and like the gang vocals thing is something really cool. I love hardcore as well, so like gang vocals is like always a yes for me. So when bands do gang vocals, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
The
This is
first
so
time,
hype.
like my first influence of gang vocals was like the early 2000s when hardcore and metalcore were picking up a little bit. And anytime I heard it, I was like, what is this? Why are they doing this?
Were you like, oh, this is like cheesy, like stop? Because
yes.
yeah, okay, because
now the thing is, now I'll listen to those songs, and when those parts come up, like I'll do it.
yeah, you got to join in the gang vocals, otherwise, like
Atreyu did it on several songs, and I was like, "What are you doing? Stop that!"
So
then,
we have this tradition in our car with my dad where he plays in the end, and we all do gang vocals at the "I put my trust" like right there. We all do it, and we always do it, and it's just there's something about it that's so hype. Like whether it's corny or not, objectivity doesn't matter here. It's fun. And that's what it is.
I don't know what it is, but there's certain like because I listen to a lot of new metal, and there's some really cheesy stuff that like I like Crazy Town, so I mean,
okay,
my opinion goes out the window immediately. But like there's something about like the really cheesy, like oh I hate like it's like I hate everything songs like Edema, Crazy Town, Primer 55 do it sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm like, God, these are songs are so or Sev does it too.
Yeah, dude, Sev is like the new metal equivalent of Smash Mouth. They're like new metal Smash Mouth. It's crazy.
Which as long if you get past Same Old Song, that album is really good.
Yeah, dude,
I don't like that song.
Front of the Line is so heavy. Like they throw in this
good.
Front of the Line is like incredibly heavy for this band that's like, yeah, Pepsi Blue, and then Front of the Line's like, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
There was so you're probably way too young for it, but like obviously back in the day they did promote Sev with the Pepsi Blue
the Pepsi Blue thing. Yeah.
Did you know that there was a second new metal band who promoted Pepsi Blue?
I did. I don't know. I don't remember the band, but I remember Kirk posted about it at one point in time.
It's Papa Roach's Time and Time Again.
Okay. I haven't seen the
so you can see the commercial with them doing it, and they're riding around in a car. I think it's cut from the music video.
Whoa! Okay, no, I've seen this. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah,
Pepsi Blue needs to make a comeback. Tala needs to do like a Pepsi Blue ad. We need like Tala to jump on that shit.
I was around for it, and I could not tell you what Pepsi Blue tasted like. The kids I knew were far more interested in Surge because it was full of caffeine.
Yeah,
but But yeah, I don't remember anything about Pepsi Blue except that it looked weird. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know about this.
I remember the World of Warcraft commercials where they had the red and blue Mountain Dews.
The
Like
red
back,
Mountain Dew was delicious, and also the blue one wasn't too bad. It was like blue raspberry.
yeah, I think I remember having like the blue one at one point in time. I don't remember where or when, but I just remember having a blue Mountain Dew at one point in time. So
I drink so little soda that like
mhm.
most of that stuff doesn't like pertain to me anymore. But every
Fair
once in a
enough.
while I'll drink something. But I couldn't tell you the last time I had any Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I'm strict on Orange Crush and Fanta. That's my shit.
oh my god.
But yeah. But I mean, as of recently, I haven't been having a lot of sodas either. Like, just in general, like I'm more of a coffee guy, and I don't drink anymore. Like I used to drink, and I guess I am straight edge, so like I know coffee is considered like I know some people in the straight edge community are like, actually coffee is a drug, so you
No,
should be coffee
fuck
eater.
that.
It's like, dude, okay, guys, I don't want to be straight edge if coffee is like
Yeah.
coffee has to be like without a doubt, like I need this stuff. So like I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean apart from that, like coffee's my shit.
No, the aspect of like I actually stopped drinking earlier this year, like
Mhm.
February. So I'm like a little over 9 months now without any
Okay.
alcohol.
Okay.
But like I'll occasionally smoke weed, but it's never been
Mhm.
like a huge thing.
Okay.
And I won't touch anything else. Like I don't like any of
Yeah.
my friends. Like I've had friends who do like coke and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'll be
be
fine.
safe in your recreational use, you
Yeah.
know. Like
I'll like
yeah.
smoke weed a little bit late at night to like calm myself down so I can like sleep. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Um so before we get to the third album, I want to
Mhm.
play a little game.
Okay, what are we playing? What are we doing?
So this is called I believe I did a similar thing with Orion. So
I'm gonna lose so bad.
it's called Attack of the Radio. So I'm gonna
Okay.
name off 20 bands.
Oh
and you're
shit.
going to first like the first song that comes to your mind that you're like, I love that song. It doesn't have to be your absolute favorite, but you tell me the first song that you're like, yeah, that song for that
Okay.
band.
Okay. Hopefully I know all 20 of these bands.
I picked they're all mainstream bands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Korn.
Korn, it's on.
Okay. Which that's an excellent opening song.
Mm-hmm.
Slipknot.
Purity.
Oh yeah. All right. Good one.
Mm-hmm.
Mudvayne.
Internal Primates Forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Disturbed.
Oh, Stricken.
Good one.
Okay.
Papa Roach.
That song that's like there's no money. Between Insects and Angels.
Angels and Insects.
Yeah, that one.
We mentioned them already. Linkin Park.
Oh, Forgotten, first album.
Yes.
Or actually, Cure for the Itch. If I can switch it.
Oh, the instrumental one. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. With turntables. Yeah.
That makes super sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that a later band on here is going to get a similar reaction.
Okay.
Limp Bizkit.
Clunk.
Okay. Taproot.
I don't like Taproot.
Oh my god. This interview is over.
Damn.
No, it's okay. System of a Down.
X.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Toxicity, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's like that 1 minute song where the like on the guitars. That like really funny section towards the end.
For some reason, I was like, "What's the fast song at the beginning?" And then I was like, "Wait, that's Jet Pilot."
Yeah.
Drowning Pool.
Ooh, Sinner. Yeah.
That's my favorite Drowning Pool song.
Okay, sick. Sinner is a really good song, and I was like getting back into their stuff recently. So
I've never been huge, but I think the Sinner album is fine, but all the singles are really good.
Yeah,
and I like Desensitized as well.
Oh yeah, I like Desensitized. My guitar player for Apotheosis, Emil, he actually likes that album a lot. The song like "Killing Me" is like a song that he's like brought up a lot of times. He's like, I love this song. He's like, really Drowning Pool. Okay,
yeah, the whole album's really good. And then after that, I don't care.
Fair enough.
POD.
POD. I don't listen to enough POD. I'm sorry.
Incubus.
Oh, Incubus Shaft.
Or I thought you were gonna do Battlestar Scratch-O-Latica.
Yeah, Shaft first song came to my head. I could say New Skin as well, or Nebula. I don't know, like whatever.
New Skin is
New
so good.
Skin. Mm-hmm.
I am a sucker for like Incubus was one of those bands when I was early in high school. They were starting to get popular, and all the kids like I
Okay.
knew were like Incubus sucks. No one likes Incubus. It was like the same thing with
Oh
Creed.
no.
It was
Oh
like
no.
no wimpy rock band. So then I was like, yeah, Incubus sucks. And then like slowly, I was like, you know what? No, I kind of like this. And then I heard
Yeah.
Science, like because at the time it was Make Yourself, but
Yeah.
then I heard Science, and I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
sounds like a completely
they
different
used
band.
dude, they used to go hard. Like fucking Calgon, Nebula, like both those songs are super heavy and they're just kind of thrown in at the end of the album, not expecting you to have them go dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
You're like,
back when they all looked
okay.
like dirty hippies.
Oh my god, dude, Brandon's dreads look so gross. The amount
Yeah.
of birds' nests and spiders that lived in there are like insane.
Uh, what are your thoughts on him being embarrassed to be called new
Oh,
metal?
new metal. I think it's embarrassing that he's going back on it because like the
Just
entire scene
own
is
it.
so
Own
yeah,
it.
and also like I feel really bad about it because like if you look at bands like Snot, like they are like embraced by the scene and they embrace the bands around them. Like that
Yeah.
entire Straight Up album had like all the entire like new metal community came together
Yes.
for Lynn. And you know, Brandon was a part of that. And I feel like him going like, "Oh, we were never new metal and it's embarrassing." It's like you're kind of like shitting on this scene that like took care of you guys back in the day and was
Yeah.
like the scene that,
No one's saying that you're corn. Just
yeah.
like all the bands were different. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Continuing on, one of my
Hmm.
favorite bands, Head PE.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking. I want to say Sophia,
Oh
but
my god.
yeah. Okay, yeah. You know what?
You know what? No, I like Sophia. I just surprised to hear you say it.
Yeah, okay, so I got into Head PE's stuff through Renegade, and then I got through
Okay.
their entire and like New World Order stuff and Only
Oof.
in America. So yeah, so that is my era of Head PE. Like all the and I worked back from there into Blackout and then their first album. So my like entire perception of the band was like, these guys are crazy. They love reptiles. Like these guys are insane. They think reptiles run the government.
Oh my god.
This is so funny. The guy's talking about libertarianism on fucking live
Dude,
shows. Like,
J Rod is crazy.
yeah, Jared.
But I love him.
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes the stuff he says is like, I really wish I could like I could be as brave as him and say this stuff and just go like, yeah. Anyways, this song's called Renegade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
I've spoken him a couple of times.
have you?
And so I've never been able to tell this story before.
Oh, go right ahead. This is
So
your forum.
I've messaged him on Facebook before and we've talked. I've actually brought up Blackout several times with him.
Okay.
Been like being like dude, I actually really like this album. And he's like, I know in the pressers he'll be like, man, it was stupid corporate rock shit and all this sort of stuff. I've gotten him to be like a little lighter on it. And like
Okay.
he's like, you know, like some of that stuff was bullshit, but like some of those songs are good songs. And he
Mm-hmm.
played the 2 times I saw him live, he played Blackout both times. That was cool.
Yeah, great song. I love the scratching on that song.
But
DJ Product is awesome.
I miss the original band.
Yeah.
I was at a show with a friend, and it was a triple header. It
Hmm.
was Mushroom Head, Head Pea, and American Head Charge.
Okay. Wow.
American Head Charge opened. Head Pea played. There was another local band or another smaller band who played before him, and I'm drawing a blank on who it was. But yeah, so American Head Charge was the first main band to go on, and they were really good. And then Head PE came out, and they did their thing, and then Mushroom Head came out, and a friend of mine, who he's a bit cleaner now.
Okay.
He was very much into going to shows and getting shit drunk and like doing mushrooms.
Okay.
Because they were a lot easier to do in the parking lot than smoking weed, because he used to do that and then he would get in trouble all the time.
Yeah.
Back when it was more frowned upon. You probably get away with it now. But yeah, so we went into the show and he had like a bag, like a good sized bag of mushrooms, and he ate all of them. And
All of them.
he had also been drinking. And so like American Head Charge goes on and he's going crazy. He's like, this is amazing. Head PE comes on, he's kind of a little bit more lucid and blah blah blah. And then Mushroom Head comes on and he is like just standing, but he's standing the whole time. And he's just like, oh god. But he's not making any noise whatsoever. So, but like we're used to him. So like we're like, as long as we keep him safe, he'll be fine. It'll wear off.
The
So I'm
kombucha
standing-
mushroom people got to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there and we're watching Mushroom Head. And a guy nudges me in the shoulder and I turn and it's J-Rod. And he's just standing there. He's like, hey, your bro okay? I was like, he's just really high. He's fine. He thought you guys were great though. And he's like, dude, that is awesome. You tell him to be safe. And then he walked away.
What a sweetheart.
I told him the next day, I was like, yeah, J-Rod checked on you. He's like, who checked on me? It's like the guy from Head P. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared, I've seen a lot of like his live streams that he's been doing on their YouTube channel. Like he managed to get a lot of the older members from the band like into these podcast episodes that he does on there. And if you haven't checked them out, they're actually really interesting.
Was he behind the Broke documentary thing they did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that popped up a few times and I've never watched it.
Yeah. So he just kind of sits around and like he gets DJ Product and all the older members to just come up and just talk about the album and stuff. And like they're all on like really good terms. And he's like really chill now. Like I don't think he cares much about the Cloud people anymore and about like Cloud people raining down on all the conspiracy stuff about how the government is run by lizards, which they are, by the way.
Look, somebody's got to go into the underground tunnels. Might as well be the lizards. It's
exactly.
Fine. Yeah,
exactly.
So back to the list.
Yeah. Okay.
I derailed that. Soulfly.
Okay. I'm just gonna say Jump the Fuck Up now.
Okay.
But I would say another song later, but I do love Jump the Fuck Up. And I've listened to like pretty much everything on Soulfly's discography.
I know I'm super familiar with the first 4 albums, and then that's my cutoff.
Okay.
But I love Prophecy. Like
Prophecy's really good.
They're another band where the first album took me a while to get into.
It's really raw. Columbo is really good, and DJ Lethal's on that song as well.
Yes, and then
he's also
Durst
on Bleed.
is on what, Bleed? Yeah,
and Lethal's all So I love, and again, like Lethal's style of scratching shines on Soulfly's records as well. I feel like if he would be in any other band, I'd want him to be in Soulfly permanently.
Soulfly with more scratching would be awesome.
Would be so good. Yeah.
Because they have it. They're very because they're not overly technical. Like they've gotten a little thrashier recently, but they were never overly technical and they were super rhythmic. So that scratching stuff would have worked really well.
Yeah.
On like Primitive and 3.
Yeah.
This I don't remember if you like these guys. I know Orion had a problem with them. Cold Chamber?
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna say Loco, but I don't listen to a lot of Cold Chamber at all. I have a problem with Dez's vocals. Something about the Cookie Monster. Yeah, there's something about the Cookie Monster Man vocals that don't do it for me. But I mean, Loco's it's a fun song.
He's another guy I met who was like super nice. Talked to me for like 25 minutes at Ozfest.
Oh, that's sweet.
But it was when it was when they were it was Double Driver. But yeah, he was super nice and he talked to me about Cold Chamber stuff, and this was way before he any reunion talks were
His vocals on Double Driver stuff like are, at least to me, I enjoy them like significantly more than I do on Cold Chamber. Like
they're more fitting almost.
Yeah.
Like he started to find his voice on the first like few Devil Driver albums.
Yeah.
You should scratch over Devil Driver.
I should, yeah. Shoot me a couple Devil Driver songs and I'll like give them a listen and see what I can do.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Deftones.
Ooh, Minus Blindfold.
All right. Okay. Seven Dust.
Face, first album. Or Speak, first album as well.
Okay. Mushroom Head.
I don't like Mushroom Head.
Okay.
I have a problem. I'm so sorry. It's with new metal bands. It's like I either love them or I hate them, and like I don't know what it is. I've tried to get into Mushroom Head. I don't know if you've seen my new metal tier list, with
No.
turntablists. Okay, I did a turntablist tier list, like recently on the subreddit, and it was like an updated version of my older tier list, and I keep putting Stitch in like the lowest tier possible.
In your defense, Stitch is a douchebag.
Yeah.
So you're
So
kind of fine. And they're not super they're another band who's not overly technical at all. Like in
yeah.
any regard.
So like with the Fear Factory shirt, my buddy Ian Eeyore, he's
Yeah.
on like the New Chord. You've probably talked to him like a bunch of times too. But
Yeah.
he's super. He's such a sweetheart. I love him. He got me into Fear Factory, and he's been trying to get me into Mushroom Head. And there's a lot of bands that he showed me over the years, and I feel like Fear
Ministry.
Factory's. Yeah, he's Ministry, Skinny Puppy, all the
I love
industrial
Skinny
metal
Puppy.
bands. Yeah, I still need to like properly get into them.
They're weird, but they're the right kind of weird for me.
Okay, Crossbreed's another band that he got me into. That like
Crossbreed, I feel you like that seems like a band that's built for you.
Yeah, they do have a turntablist as well, so
yes.
they're sick. Yeah,
their turntablist is why they got. I saw them live once, and they had their show cut short because of the turntablist.
Oh, what happened?
Because he does the axe grinder thing.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, did they get kicked out because of it? Damn.
Four songs in.
Stuff Mojo did that too.
That was another show with a stacked card. It was another Mushroom Head show, but it was Mushroom Head, Nocturne, who's an industrial new metal band with a chick singer, Dope, and Crossbreed.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Industrial lineup. They're in
Crossbreed got kicked off they turned the house lights on and told him to get off stage.
Damn.
That's the only time I ever got to see Crossbreed.
Dude, the ankle grinder is so cool.
I loved it.
In Pig Walk, the actual music video, the Stuck Mojo song, you can see Bones doing it on a live show. There's like this giant trash can that he's like cutting in half, and all the sparks are like hitting people in the front row. It's like, Jesus Christ, the 90s was insane. Then you look at bands like Crossbreed, and they're still doing that shit now, and you're like, God damn.
I wish they would fully come back. I mean, I know it's late and it wouldn't they wouldn't make any impact. But
are you talking about Crossbreed or Stuck Mojo?
You know what, both, but Crossbreed is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they do. They put on some really good live shows. Like over the last couple of years, like the 2017 stuff, I've seen like some of their shows. They go all out, face paint, everything, black lights, like super theatrical. I love it.
Yeah, no, that was the coolest thing when I first saw them, because it was they used to play the video for Underlined a lot.
Okay.
And yeah, I was like, what is this band?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was on New Breed, we talked about the fact that they are one of those bands who I can't believe they didn't get bigger, because they seem like a prototypical nu metal band. They look like they are built for promote this band. Look at them. They're crazy.
Yeah.
They're like Cold Chamber, but better. With techno elements.
Yeah, you got like the gabber stuff that they do. And I feel like a lot of these industrial bands, like they get a lot of club time as well, just because like the remixes and stuff that a lot of the people would do with their songs. Like Fear Factory had that. They had like an entire club scene, like them and Orgy. Like people would like listen to Fear Factory and then go and listen to like their remix album, like in a nightclub or something. Because,
yeah,
like, the gabber stuff
remanufacture.
Yeah.
And the other Fear is the Mind Killer, I think.
Fear is the Mind Killer, yeah.
All right, two more bands, and I have a feeling that you really like one of these and maybe not the other one.
Okay.
So Stained.
Okay, Stained, they're Bring the Noise cover with Fred Durst.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
you cheated your way out of that.
Okay, no. Okay, so if you want me to pick an actual Stained song, I'd say okay. Well, if it's fine, then it's fine. But I'd say like Pressure or
Pressure's good. This is a band I feel you probably really like, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Non-Point.
Okay, Non-Point. I'm gonna pick Mind Trip, but the original version of Mind Trip, like
the one on Separate Yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one. There's something about that version that I really, really like. It's just super heavy and raw.
Yeah, that's another one. Like where many years later, I heard like the indie album, and I was like, wow, they went a little harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they refined their sound for Statement, or maybe the producers did, but yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of parts where like Elias is screaming on like separate yourself, but then if you listen to the statement version, it's like all clean vocals, and you're like you can clearly tell this was not them doing it, but a producer going like, "Hey, Elias, maybe you should like change your vocals here a little bit," and like definitely made them feel a lot more radio friendly. But
They
they
were
had like this funk, like very weird, like dissonant bass thing going on their first album that I really liked.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of funk stuff on Statement. Maybe
No,
Orgullo.
yeah.
But which some of that song reminds me of Zebrahead, which is weird. But
Yeah. Nonpoint kind of has I don't want to say like they sound like Zebrahead, but they have like a feel like Zebrahead. Like they do give me like I correlate some of the bands together
yeah,
sometimes and I
they
feel
can
like
hit that vibe.
yeah, for sure.
Um but yeah, so what is your third album that you would like to talk about?
I am picking let me pull it out real quick. I don't have it on me, but I just want to make sure I have the list. Okay. Blind Spot's first album. Blind
Okay.
Spot.
Yep.
Yeah. You know them?
Yep.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? How that record?
I
Because
really like Nil by Mouth, and then the
mhm.
rest of the album I think is good.
Okay, I've done a cover of Nil by Mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, and that song is really fun. My buddy Emil, guitar player, he loves Blind Spot, and he doesn't listen to a lot of new metal. Like he used to really be into it, but I feel like his tastes have been refined. He's found his sound, and honestly, some of the new metal did bleed through partially because of me.
Mhm.
But Blind Spot was one of those bands that passed through the filter, and there's something about their chord choice. That just kind of reminds me of like mid 2000s and early 2000s emo music and like
Yeah,
metalcore
it's
almost.
far more melodic.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't try to be it it's heavy at times, but it doesn't ever try to be. Like it's
Yeah.
just super pleasant listen.
And their turntablist, DJ Delay, Carl Vilsini, really, really good. I feel like his certain aspect is like the aspects that he brings to Blind Spot is the same stuff we talked about with Lifer, where like
Mhm.
there's this ambience and like kind of like white noise and riser effects that you hear in their music a lot. Like in both in Lifer's music, and you also hear that in Blind Spot. But with Blind Spot, they have a lot more opportunities for the turntables to just kind of go wild. And there's
Mhm.
songs like Nil by Mouth, where that entire section of that riff sounds incomplete without like the cool 16th note like scratching parts that go on it. And there's songs like Fall Down, which feel like really emotional in the way they're separated, and like how the turntables kind of play a role in the actual intro and throughout the riffs and stuff. Like it feels really integral to their music, which is kind of why I as much as I do like their second record, and they do have some pretty heavy stuff on there as well. I always kind of go back to their first one because Carl's not on their second one. He like
I don't
left the
think I've
band
ever
after.
heard the second one.
There's some good stuff on there. It sounds more 3 Days Gracie, but I don't want to like
Okay.
throw them into that and make you like not want to listen to them if you're not into Three
Three
Days
Days
Grace.
Grace is
But
okay.
yeah, okay. Well, they kind of go into like more of that direction and less
So
of
like
the
more post grungy.
yeah.
Okay.
But they do have some of the heavier stuff on there as well. And their new stuff kind of reminds me of Diamond Eyes by Deftones, like their last single that
Oh,
came
I'm
out.
actually into that.
Yeah. Yeah, so very like very heavy, like drop A tuning, like super low. It sounds like either 7 or 8 string guitars on like their new single. And they're back. They're all back together playing live shows again.
I remember Orion saying something about that. So that is
Yeah.
exciting. And as
Mhm.
you said, like with Lifer, it almost feels like they have a keyboard player instead of like just a DJ. And
Yeah.
that's super impressive when you know realize it's just the guy. Like and
It's just
Deftones does that too.
yeah.
Like, yeah. So it adds a whole other layer to their sound, which is
Yeah.
really good.
And I know he uses a drum machine. I've like seen his decks on some of their music videos, some of their live shows. Sometimes Carl just comes out with a single turntable,
Mhm.
a mixer, and a drum machine. And I guess a drum machine has like a lot of the synths and samples that he'd play on there. A lot of the drum loops, like on the very first track, My Dependency, it
Mhm.
has like that intro drum loop and like the vocal sample of like the lady singing that's scratched at the start. And like he's doing both those things at the same time, which is really impressive.
In the
And
new incarnation of the band, is the DJ back or no?
no, so Carl was in the second incarnation of the band when I don't know if you know about the blind spot drama, but
No.
after they broke up, their drummer had the rights to the band name Blind Spot. So when the
Mm-hmm.
band wanted to get back together in 2010, they couldn't actually call themselves Blind Spot, and this was like all of the original members except their drummer who didn't want to come back to the band. So they had a lawsuit about it. I guess they settled out of court because they changed their name from Blind Spot to Blacklist, and they released an album under the name Blacklist with two T's, just like how Blind Spot has two
Okay.
T's. Yeah, and their turntablist was on there, and Blacklist was a thing all the way until like 2019. Like they were touring all the way until then, and
Okay.
yeah. So, but then when Blind Spot got back together, and it's the original lineup, except I don't think someone is missing. Other apart from their turntablist, someone else is also missing. I think it might be. Yeah, I don't quite know like who's actually back, but the band, at least their drummer and their singer, their bassist and guitar player are back. But I think they have a second guitar player now, and they don't have their turntablist, Rick Carl. He's not dead,
Wow.
but man, sucks.
Yeah, but he might as well be.
No, yeah, but I don't know, that album speaks to me, especially with some of the vocal cutting that is done on the song like "So Us Is This," Suit. I have a feeling it's an Eminem song that he's like sampled and scratched because there's like a certain I just hear like Marshall Mathers like voice on that. I swear, like I'm not
Okay.
making this up. You got it. Like you got to listen to it again. It sounds like he grabbed an Eminem song or got an acapella of like Eminem singing something and like scratched it on there, and it sounds really good. And I don't know, he's a good technical turntablist. He can scratch really well. I love the ambience he brings to their music and his use of synths and pad effects and drum loops. Like it's just good stuff. I like it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now
I
for the
I have
fine. What?
I have
Go.
a four. Okay, like before we go again, I have like a fourth record, and I know you only say three, but I
Orion
just want to
broke
like.
this rule too.
Okay, goddamn, like it's just me and him.
In
Okay,
fact, Santiago might have too.
okay. Well, in that case, I guess I can too. If
Do it.
two of my boys have broken the rule, I guess I can too. I just want to like quickly throw this out there. Like Insolence's record Revolution.
We can't talk about that.
We can't. They okay. They. I got
they're
fucked over.
gonna take this video down.
Oh no. Okay. I love
I'm
that
messing with you.
record. And Jerry DeLala, like the Hermit, is like an incredible turntablist. He comes from like the California like battle scratch scene.
Okay.
So yeah, seeing like battle scratch turntablism in new metal is so cool because it's like the Steve Vai stuff but for turntablists, or it's like the Van Halen stuff but for turntablists. It's like the kind of jerk offy noodly guitar solo stuff that like it either works really well for some people or some people absolutely despise it. Is like the same thing with turntablism, but like with
What are your
his
thoughts
stuff.
on the Executioners?
I think they're really cool. They're super talented, and every time they've done stuff with rock and metal, it's worked phenomenally. And I think as a turntablist scratch crew, they're super innovative. But Rob Swift is kind of an asshole sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, he goes on these rants and tirades about how much digital turntablism sucks, and he's like, "Oh, if you use decks like these, you're not a real turntablist, and you got to get yourself vinyl, and that's the only way to scratch properly." He
It's
does
like the people who were like, "You can't record digital; it has to be analog."
Yeah, you got to use tape machines, otherwise you're not
the
actually
music's
recording.
dead.
Yeah, Pro Tools killed the music industry. Ah, yeah. He's kind of like that. I love the guy. He's a really talented turntablist, and he actually does like video courses on his YouTube channel about like really technical turntablism, beat juggling, and stuff like that. And when he's not shitting on digital turntables, he knows his stuff, and he's like really really good. And I think the Executioners as a whole, as like a trio, phenomenal. They're sick.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So for the last section of this interview, we have a special surprise.
Oh.
So, all right, surprise! Hey, look, Orion's here.
No way!
Hi.
I don't know where he came from, but he's here now.
I don't know. Magical Floridian bird powers. I don't know, man.
No way.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Orion is in Dropspike with Dugog, and that's why he's here, and they're going to talk about it. So drop all the deets on Dropspike. Well, I deliberately didn't talk about this in your episode, so.
Ooh, how are we gonna bring it up, Orion? We gonna drop the nuke, the announcement date? Are we dropping that? Do we have one?
Do we have
one?
Do you have this info?
We are
we're definitely
almost
prepped.
done with
yeah,
the EP. Yeah,
we're almost done.
almost done.
So I mean, considering like we don't really know when this episode's gonna come out, the progress could
It might already be out. We'll see. I don't know.
So if it is, I hope it's good. I hope you like the scratching on Nest. And because there's a lot.
Nest is gonna be the best song on the EP. Don't listen to anything else. Just listen to that song.
And Battering Ram.
Battering Ram is gonna be dope.
How many tracks is gonna be?
6, right?
6. Yeah, there's 6.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 7 if I throw in a schmaltzy acoustic ballad at the end.
Ooh, I need to be on there. I need to do something for that.
You can do like
if you want, we could do it like we could do it like the Meadows, like Head PE, like at the end of
and then do a bunch of outtakes at the end.
We should do the outtakes, but I meant like I could do like some cool like sample drumming thing and like
that would be really nice.
Turn it to like an Incubus song at the end of an album.
And then I could just sing about vague relationship I've never had.
Yeah, and I can scratch about vague relationship that I never had either. Haha.
You can sample something that'll get me a subpoena.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll get in legal trouble because of my samples. It'll be great. It'll be so fun.
I believe in you.
Mm-hmm. So I already sampled World of Warcraft, and we're in the clear. I don't think anyone's noticed yet.
Yeah, I sampled an Atlantic Records band, so
let's go. Shh. You didn't hear that Atlantic Records?
It's on the song you're on too.
Oh no! Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little does Doug know that his penalty is going to be being forced to listen to Taproot.
No!
So...
I'll force him to listen. No, I'm going to make him do that anyway.
Damn. You guys can straight up.
Hey, Doug, you want to see something scary? Boo.
Ah!
That one's not even good.
I shouldn't be screaming it like this late at night. It's like 10 o'clock.
That's
so,
this is the third best album.
Okay.
4th. So tell me about the start of Dropspike. What got you guys together?
Orion, do you want to talk about this and then I can jump in? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the first song we ever worked on together was Terminal for the Oxalis Lake record that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the first time we really worked on stuff like that. That was the first time you worked on like electronic music, and that was the first time I like heard your scratching like over like I don't know the kind of style of music I would make, and I was like, yo, this sounds like exactly what I wanted to hear. And I was like, just on a whim one day during AP literature, I was just kind of doodling out some logos and stuff like that, and I was like, I had this name for a while, let me see if I can do something with it. And I took a piece of grid paper and I just started drawing lines and stuff like that, and I ended up like Dropspike. That's a cool name. And where the name comes from, it's an espionage. Like, did I talk about this on my episode? I can't remember.
I don't
think so, but I think the people need to hear it regardless.
Yeah, say it again regardless.
Conceptually, it's really cool.
Like, the name of the band Dropspike is there's an espionage device called a dead Dropspike, which is basically just like a large metal pike thing you stick in the ground and you unscrew it and put like notes in there or whatever you want to put in there. And I kind of use that as an analogous thing for like underground new metal in a sort of esoteric way, where it's just like, we're underground. If you choose
getting the message out there, get the message out there for the people that like want to look for it and get it. Yeah.
New metal by the people for the people.
Yeah,
it's following that
libertarian new metal. I'm kidding. No, don't quote me on that.
We have no political.
I'm taking that quote out of context. I'm clipping just that part.
Let's do it. Also, reptiles in the government new metal.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. We're doing. Yeah.
J-Rod's gonna be like your #1 fan. You're like, I love these guys. Talk about lizards.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Cloud
Yeah, our
People.
biggest influence is Only in America era head PE.
Let's go. That's
Yeah.
they had their best song on that record. Wasn't Represent on that record?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Yeah, where he
like-
says, I don't give a fuck, like 300 times, and then fucking scratching during the breakdowns, actually. Unironically. Okay, I actually like that song. Like, no hate. I think
It's-
that's
I won't.
it's fun.
That album is
I just get kicked out of here. It's like, Doug,
Out.
fuck out of here.
So during Doug's solo section, he mentioned that one of your first collaborations was working on Eros on Holiday Kirk's Come Here record. So was that something that built, like, was that like a stepping stone towards Dropspike?
We started working together like before holiday stuff, but like it was the first time all three of us like worked on something together, because we are planning on doing more stuff with Kirk. There was like a Dry Kill Logic cover he wanted to do with me at one point in time.
Which song?
That I had no idea.
I think it was like 2 years ago. He's like, dude, we need to do Pain by Dry Kill Logic, and
I
like
thought
you
he
can do this.
hated Dry Kill Logic.
Dude, they're like one of his favorite bands.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He
cool.
talked. Yeah. So, but then he like never got back to me about it, and like I'm planning on covering the song this weekend, so I might just like message him out of the blue and just go like, "Hey,
that's cool.
guitars, this song, do you want to do it?" I don't know, but
He said he was going to do an Avril cover, and he never did it.
damn. I mean, Kirk and I worked on something recently, that Fred Durst Friday thing on his Twitter that he posts every Friday. I did the scratching for it, and he tags me in it.
Consistent with that?
Every Friday he tags me in it, and it's Fred Durst Friday, you fucking loser, and then the fucking scratchings in there. It's like cool, like rhythmic, and then like a bunch of like really cool like sine wave scratching, and like I sampled like Evangelion, like Neon Genesis Evangelion, like the angel noises and whatever, and I kind of layered that in there as well. Earlier. Yeah, so like it was good. It was like surprisingly good scratching for like a fun meme song that he's gonna post on Twitter every Friday. I'm probably gonna get sick of hearing it pretty soon, but so far it's fun.
He keeps tagging you and bringing people to your stuff. Fuck it.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's awesome.
Imagine
I get the follower like
free promotion.
Dude, yeah. I know. Holidays. He's really good with that. Anyways, so like Orion and I started hanging out on like the original nu metal Discord server. I don't remember which one it was, but it was the one that got raided, and the people started posting pictures of poop in there, and then everyone like shifted.
Is that the pre-Nucord one?
That was pre-Nucord. Yep.
Early 2020, and it was Orion, Ian, and I would just like hang out and talk about music and talk shit and stuff, and we became friends through that. And it was through Orion's personal projects and his musical projects, Terminal being the first song. Us working on that was like how we were like, actually, you and I put some pretty interesting stuff together. Like, this is a pretty unique sound. This is like this really interesting like EDM, like glitch hop music with like turntable scratching. It has this trip hop quality to it, and like really interesting ambience that I try to bring to the fold. That like Orion's already really good at doing that stuff solo. Like he really doesn't need me. He's carrying me through this project.
No, his electronic stuff is very good.
It's
his electronic stuff.
Like he is like so much better at me in doing that, because like I tried my hand at dubstep when I was like 14. It was awful, and that stuff's on my YouTube channel.
It is. I listened to some of it. It's not terrible.
Garbage. Okay.
It's not that bad.
The looping he does with like the drum beats and stuff, like I'm like, I can't touch this.
Like,
okay.
Orion makes me want to be a better musician, and I feel like a lot of my inspiration for the stuff that we're doing for this album is coming from like me just picking stuff up from him, and picking stuff up from like my previous projects, and learning and from like mistakes that I've made. But
which is a really cool thing. Like learn, to take to work with somebody you're taking influence from. Excellent.
Yeah, it's been a really fun time, and like working on these songs together is really interesting, because like you get an insight on like writing process, and a lot of the time these songs are either like semi-complete, and then sometimes they might just get completely changed. And it happens to be like the case with me as well, where like there's this one section in the song where it's like I just want to scratch something else here as well, like I gotta layer it like a couple times, and I'm like, Orion, please just send it back, and I'll layer it, I'll do like a couple things, and I'll send it back, and then it's like I really need to get it like just right. But honestly, like there's a really unique sound that comes out of the projects him and I put together, and I genuinely feel like with the singles that are already out, like people will hear that, and we do have a lot of similar
the EP are gonna be
inspirations.
better.
The deep cuts are like so much better,
The
especially
3 songs that are out so far are all good. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for okay. The 6-song EP, is it going to be 6 new songs, or the 3 songs that are already made?
No, it's gonna the 3 songs that are on there. I'm completely re-recording the vocals to Lost Voices because well, the entire reason why the vocal mix is so low in there is because one, I was trying to double track the vocals and I'm not a good enough singer to do that. And second of all, I was just very nervous about releasing a song with my voice because that was the first time I'd ever recorded myself singing.
Which is
So
a big
it's like,
deal. I get
yeah,
that.
so I was like super nervous about it. So I just put the vocals like as low as I possibly could in the mix so they get away with it. And then everybody was messaging me like, "Hey man, this is a great song. Turn the vocals up. I can't understand you." It's like, yeah, I know.
It's
that was the point. I wasn't
it's my
supposed to sound. Yeah.
it's my release in Bashful Rock.
It's my yeah.
You know,
it's like
it's
that
weird.
one. It's like that one meme where it's like the new metal political compass thing, where it's like corny, whiny, or like
Yeah,
trashy. And
I know
like,
what you're talking about.
yeah, it's like make a new category and put bashful in there, and it's just whoop,
Yeah,
put me right up there.
Crank the vocals, crank the scratching.
Yeah, that's what dude. Turntables just need to be like super loud in them. There are like really interesting parts in our music where Orion just kind of gives me a section. He's like, "Yeah, just go off, just do your thing here." And
I usually pretty much just let him do whatever he wants because at the end of the day, I try to give him like equal input, you know.
And
which is really cool.
I try my best to do what I can with a single instrument while Orion's composing like a majority of this music by himself. Like a lot of the lyrical ideas are coming from Orion. However, there might be a song where I have some lyrical input because something bad happened. Aww.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, like the bass sections are done by Orion. Orion's also like a phenomenal drummer. Like he's like insanely good. Like much respect.
All the stuff I've heard from Orion doing drums are impressive.
Like crisp. Like the sound is really good, and considering like we're just kind of working on this stuff from home, like it's insane like how well it's actually coming together. So when it comes to like the scratching sections, I could probably send you screenshots.
Cover my cheeks so that way none of you can see me.
We already know. We know.
Yeah, but you know, I do try to pull my weight with this band as well. So like I can send you a couple. Shit, we could probably show you a couple demos where there's like 6 layers of scratching and samples and synths and stuff.
Yeah,
put in
it's
there.
crazy.
Like,
it's like I'm practicing like stereo mix, like stereo field mixing or whatever, and it's just like I hear it's like the main scratch needs to be in the center, and then there's the siren synth that should be in like the left or right ear or whatever. It's like another one I should put a ring modulator on and make it sound really wonky and stuff. Which actually there is a song where I put a ring modulator on a synth and it sounds really weird.
Yeah. There's some there's like really interesting one shots, vocal samples, there's a lot of really cool scratching. And like a lot of the scratching that I'm doing on these, they do delve into like a little bit of technicality, and there's some like really difficult stuff that like took me quite a long time to actually get down right. Yeah. There was this one part on like Nest where like I'm scratching at this like really interesting, just like a little triplet part, but it's so hard to do to just get it right on the timings, even when I have a metronome on. And then I got it right, and I was like, I really hope Orion notices this triplet. I send him the track, we're listening it together. He's like, "Oh, the triplet's so cool." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I did my job. This is so good."
No, that
like
that's
insane. It. That was like a couple days ago too, and we're just like, okay, this is good. Like I'm doing my job right. I also like sometimes I like ask some of my friends about like if I'm doing is like a little overwhelming, because sometimes I feel like I don't want the scratching to take over. I heard the guys on Newcord listen to Lost Voices, and when they talked about the scratching, they were like, "Oh, it's there and it's not overwhelming," which is good. And it's like I really hope that that doesn't become the case, where I feel like I want this being like a first release with a band that I'm in, and where I'm not just like a featured artist. Like I guess I am in Kirk's band, but Kirk's band is him and a couple of his buddies, but it's under Kirk's name. I'm basically
it's pretty much just him.
I'm hired gun. Like as much as like I say I am in his band, I'm basically hired gun. but with Orion and with Dropspike, this is like our project, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and this being like an actual release that's going to be on streaming services and stuff, I do want people to hear it and go like, whoa, this Captain Dugog guy can like actually scratch kind of well. Whoa,
Yeah.
what?
It
But
will
it's also
definitely
good
have
to
more
continue
times like
I was just gonna say it's also good to like push yourself as well. Like
Oh
you're
yeah, for
talking about
sure.
more technicality.
Yeah, there's a lot. Lifer influence in there. Jerry D from Insolence influence on there. There's a lot of DJ Lethal influence on there. There's a lot of scratching where there's a little bit of like distortion and gain. There's like this razor blade like pedal effect that I got for free. I don't even remember where I got it from, but you just hit this button and it just like distorts the fuck out of your samples and adds like a shit ton of compression to it. And it's like perfect. White noise scratching, add that on there, and it just sounds like a blade like cutting through a mix, and it's very cool sounding. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's really cool.
Excellent. So I'd cut you off, Orion. Is there something else you want to
Oh
say?
yeah.
No, I'm bad at interrupting, so you're good.
Okay.
It's hard to with the way that lag comes into Zoom calls, it's kind of hard to get a word in sometimes without cutting off somebody. It's hard to anyway.
I mean,
Thing
if
to
you want to
say.
talk about like some cool stuff about like the writing process, I feel like that'd be really interesting because that's something as much as I try to get insight on that, that's really your department, and maybe like you can share some cool stuff about like some of
Do
the
it.
tracks.
I mean, a lot of like lyrically, like the lyrical approach I take, at least of the two original songs. I mean, the ones that are going to be on the record are going to be a little bit more, I guess, deeper. As deeper. I'm not Greg Graffin, you know. Uh, but I mean, I do think that the lyrics pretty much primarily just come from a personal standpoint because I really don't feel like the kind of person who is adept enough to write about like super, you know, hefty topics about the world and the state of affairs. You know, I'm not the guy for that. You know, I'm
Or
just
reptiles in the government, which
Nobody wants to hear that anyways. You talk about your personal feelings and then you make them vague enough so people can relate to them and go, I feel that too.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, that's new metal 101. That's
yeah, for sure. And honestly, I feel
I
like
try to make them a little bit less vague. I do put in a lot of details that are a bit more specific. You listen to Nest when it comes out. That one's definitely going to be very dark, um, but yeah, I mean, I try to put like make it a little bit less vague because I feel like if it's too vague, then it doesn't really feel like it comes from an honest place.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because it's just kind of like, you know, I am vaguely angry about vague thing for vague reasons, and I'm angry about it. It's like, I don't know,
record
man. I'm
labels
not trying
eat
to
that
be,
shit up though.
I'm
I
not trying to
feel
be post
human
2013
emotions.
3 Days Grace. You know?
That I feel like there's an algorithm out there that like some record label is putting together right now to just emulate that exact thing, like vague anger about vague subject, and then like slight emotional distress. That's all
Well, I
you
mean,
need,
they
and that's
already
like
have.
modern.
They've been trying to do that since Linkin Park was popular.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
They're
like,
exists.
let's turn this into a formula.
I mean,
It
there's
exists.
already 24/7. You seen the AI generated tech death channel?
Yeah, dude. There's AI generated gent and shit too. Like holy
Yeah,
crap.
I mean, it's
That makes
trained on
sense.
Archspire music, and it just sounds. I mean, it doesn't even. You know, it sounds exactly the same as every other tech death song I've ever heard.
Yeah. That's not something I particularly enjoy.
Yeah.
As much as I like death metal, it's when
Yeah.
it goes into like noodle all the time territory at 500 miles per hour. I'm like, you lost me.
It's
Although
part of
I
the,
get
it's
that
part
it's
of the reason
impressive. I
I
don't
like
care though.
stopped listening to like Animals as Leaders because they put out this shirt a while ago that's like, odds are we're better musicians than you, and it just kind of gives me an insight into that whole scene. It's just I don't know.
When bands get too jerk offy about like their talent, you know, fuck it. I
Yeah,
don't want to
like
listen
Lorna
to
Shore's guitarist.
Oh yeah, he called people. It wasn't sheeple. What do you say?
No,
It was
NPCs.
like
They called other guitarists
NPCs. Yeah.
NPCs. Yeah,
What the
that was
fuck?
really
Why?
It's just
Like,
really cringe.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're doing that shit.
yeah.
It's like you think that's not gonna help you. Cause like once you're like the glossiness of you has worn off, ooh, you're gonna need those people that you just shit on.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And
no one
especially
wants to tour with us. That's weird.
Yeah.
newer, shinier guitarists come out and people start eating them up, and then all these other guys become forgettable. It's like,
Just be humble.
yeah.
I tend to I like the common man guitarist, you know. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I tend to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, keep going.
No, I was just
You're
saying.
on a roll, Orion. Keep going.
I can speak for both me and Doug. We tend to gravitate towards more underrated bands. Like I can say for both of us that two of our biggest shared influences for Dropspike is Sunk Loto and Swift.
Yeah.
Which are two very good influences to have.
I fucking love Swift so much. I feel like the last month has been like, okay, I've like listened to them for like the last 2 to 3 years, but like this last month, for some reason, it's like all of these songs are my feelings. Oh, I love them. They're so good.
They hit.
They're so good. And Sunk Loto, fucking awesome. I wish Adam Cox came back to the band. He was a good turntablist. I don't know why he's not in the band. They're all back together. Just get your turntablist back, guys. What the fuck is your problem?
Bring it.
Like, let's bring him back as keyboardist.
Yeah. Like, why is it that like when bands come back, they're like, oh yeah, the turntable. Who are we talking about?
Like that's not cool anymore. That's what people want.
Dude, they think they're just replaceable. We're not machines. We're not
I was really happy when Stepa came back with Chaz.
Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately, like he passed away like pretty recently.
That was really sad news.
Dude, I was like really broken up about it. Stepa is like another huge inspiration for both of us. So, like considering we did that cover. Did I say Sev? I didn't say Sev. I said Stepa.
Yeah, he said Stepa.
He said Sev.
Orion, known Sev super fan.
Yeah, no, dude.
We talked about Sev a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we were recording Embers, and then all of a sudden, fucking Orion's like recording with drum loop, and then Pepsi Blue just like comes out of nowhere, and he's just like chugging an entire bottle of Pepsi Blue. It's like, dude, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, he's playing Front of the Line by Sev. Like, I don't know, shit just happens.
Man, biggest Sev fan ever.
Yeah. I hecking love Pepsi Man. Woo!
So I did have a question that I didn't ask during your solo episode. You obviously you're the super DJ on YouTube. Are there any other instruments you play?
Yeah, I play bass. I have a 5-string. I've been playing bass for like a year now. I play guitar. I'm not particularly great. You know, I say I play guitar. I can play power chords and a couple dissonants. I can basically play Vane songs. Yeah, I can play Vane songs. That's like my peak of like playing guitar.
Those are not easy.
Yeah, okay. I can play like Rebirth Protocol and like a couple. I'm not like a great guitar player. I've been like practicing bass. I basically want to be like Ryan Martini, but I know I'm never gonna get there. So I'm gonna get to a point where I can do a little bit of slap bass and maybe start
doing bass lessons with Cormac.
Yeah, I should. Dude, Cormac is such a good bassist. He's our buddy. He's called Orange on Discord, but like insane bassist. He's like super talented. The dude's like a prodigy. He's like insanely good. He's like a fretless too. But yeah. I should probably ask him because I can pull out my 5-string real quick if you want to check it out. But I've only been playing for like a year, so like I'm okay. I do want to get to a point where I can record for both either Dropspike. If Cormac doesn't start recording for us, then like I might want to try my hand at it.
Yeah.
But for Apotheosis, I've already like put it in that I will be playing bass for Apotheosis and doing turntables. I don't know how I'm gonna manage that live if we ever do stuff live, but for all the stuff that comes out. Yeah, simple as. Let me just go get some of that solution out. Hand growing solution. But yeah, so Emil and I discussed it, and he's like, well, I want to do the bass part. He wanted to like use programmed basses, and the way he plays bass is with a pick, and it's like, nah, dude, if we're doing like genty new metal deathcore stuff with jazz elements, you got to go fingerstyle and slap. So and he didn't really want to like learn it because he has like wrist issues, so we do have a little bit of difficulty recording every now and then. But I was like, dude, I'll just take bass duties. I got a bass for Christmas, and I fucking love it. It's awesome. Let me pull it out real quick. You guys can continue your conversation.
So you're gonna when are we gonna get what's the release date gonna be for this Dropspike stuff? Or do you not have it actually set yet?
No, I'm just gonna say before the end of the year.
Check
Okay.
it out, sweetums.
So that gives you a month.
We can do it. We can do it in a month.
Let's
I
see
believe in you.
what's wrong here.
Is everything already recorded or no?
I need to do bass and vocals for
Ooh.
my parts, but that's it. Only for like a couple songs too. So.
I need
Okay.
to record. I need to record some turntable. We have 2 more songs to get done. Like I have to record at least 2 more. I think we have to do Embers, and then I
A
have to
new
redo.
version of Battering Ram.
Yeah, so Embers and Battering Ram, and then we're done.
Remind me
got
after the call, message me and I'll send you the updated version of Battering Ram.
We'll do. Check it out. It's a Core 5.
That is a nice bass.
It's pretty
That's
cool.
very
Yeah, yeah. I got it, and over Christmas, and I've just been like practicing. Once I get good enough, it'll be in my covers as well. I'll do like bass and turntable covers. It'll be fun.
Excellent.
Hell yeah.
It'll be the traveling Dugog band.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
It'll be great. Alrighty.
All right. So is there anything else you would like to discuss regarding Dropspike? Or any other projects you want to talk about? I don't know if Doug can hear me right now.
He took his earbuds off. I'm waiting for him to come back.
Okay.
Just shove the thing under my bed because I don't have like a stand for my bass yet. I need to get a bass stand, like a just instrument stand as a whole. I put it in a box and just put the box under my bed.
So are there any other projects you want to talk about, Doug?
Ooh, okay. Well, I mean, I've already kind of mentioned it a bunch of times, but Cult of Apotheosis or Throne of Apotheosis or just Apotheosis is my other band. And we are going through a bit of a sound shift. I mean, we have a couple demos on my YouTube channel. They were just released tracks, but they're not on streaming services. They're just kind of on YouTube because me and my buddy Emil put them together over like the last 2 to 3 years. We've been a band, and yeah, he's kind of influenced from like a lot of gent and deathcore, but as of recently, he's been getting to a lot of like Korean music and city pop and a lot of like interesting Japanese music and jazz. So I was like, okay, you know what? I don't want us to like not be a band anymore because of creative differences, because I basically still listen to like the same stuff since I was like 12. So I was like, let's talk about this. We'll put together a playlist and see what works. And we ended up like finding this like really interesting midpoint where like I don't want to say we're gonna sound like Carnival, but we're gonna be like we're gonna have like nu metal elements, but be like jazzy and proggy as well.
Okay.
And have so that's kind of what we're gonna be going for.
That's
And we haven't really written much since I don't know. Our last song was Destroyer Arrangement, so we haven't really written much since then. But I mean, eventually we're gonna have some more tracks out, and they're gonna be a lot more experimental.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that's and then I'm gonna be featured. I'll shout out the band Keolos, or Keolos is how you say it, but it's spelled Koilos. I'm featured on a couple of their tracks. They're a nu metal band that contacted me like a couple months ago, about half a year ago, and they have 2 singles out so far, Glass and Lock, Load, and Destroy. And my scratching is so loud in the mix of Lock, Load, and Destroy. It's kind of crazy. Sometimes it throws me off a little bit. But yeah, 2 singles are out. They're on streaming too. And if you want to hear cool turntable scratching over genty nu metal, there you go. Cool. There's that.
Very much.
I'll definitely listen to that.
Yeah. So that's really about it. Other than that, we have Dropspike, we got Apotheosis, and Orion's personal projects. Go listen to that stuff. Go listen to Orion with 3 eyes. Stuff's great. Yeah.
You like drum and bass electronica?
With a little bit of scratching here and there.
Yeah.
Some scratching. I'm definitely gonna get you to do more songs for that project.
Yeah, I want to do more songs for that project because I feel like we go into this really experimental place with our writing where I get to sample some really weird stuff I wouldn't typically sample.
So
I definitely want to start doing some weirder stuff for that project.
Always be weird.
Yes. Yeah, don't let normality dull your music. You gotta gotta go wild. Sample a chicken's head getting twisted off and then just
Fringe culture
scratch
is dead.
it.
Fringe culture is dead,
Yes,
I
and
love
I'm living
Fringe.
proof.
So how much more time do you guys have?
For like VP, for like when
No,
it's coming
I
out.
mean for the call.
I mean, I don't really have a set time. We're good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're okay and we got through everything.
No, I want to do one more thing, but I
Oh,
was
yeah,
waiting
no.
for Orion to be here to do it.
Oh no.
Oh, perfect.
So-
Yeah, no, I got time.
Oh no.
What are we doing?
Okay.
What are we doing?
Okay, so remember how we played a game earlier? I'm gonna do a different one, and this one's
Ooh.
specifically for you two to answer.
Oh,
And
okay.
I am doing this deliberately because you guys weren't really around in this era, and I'm curious of your opinions.
We're
Great,
so
okay.
fucked. Orion, we're
So-
so fucked.
No, you guys will be fine.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
We'll probably be fine. I don't know.
So unlike the one earlier where I listed off bands and you picked a song, this one I'm calling Nu Metal Survivor.
Oh,
So
boy.
what
Okay.
I'm doing is I've made a list of bands whose major label debut albums came out in 2002 or 2003.
No.
And then
That's
I'm
like-
going to ask you
Oh no.
if these bands had if their debut had come out in 1998, on a scale of 1 to 5,
Okay.
how well do you think these bands would have done?
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Okay.
Given decent promotion, like not shot to the moon like Limp Bizkit, but given a decent push, how well would these bands have done if they hadn't come in so late?
I gotta not let my personal bias get in the way.
Celsius needs to be on there. Like, I know their stuff's from like 2008, but Celsius is like a great new metal.
I didn't know
band.
you listened to them.
They're good, dude.
Yeah,
I like
they are.
Celsius.
Yeah.
All right, so I've once again, like earlier, I wrote down 20 bands, and so on a scale of 1 to 5, and you can talk about it too.
Okay.
Switched.
Switched.
It's like a hard. That's
4?
hard.
So
I'd say
See, this is the personal bias thing. Subject to Change is one of my favorite nu metal records ever. So I
yeah,
want to say 5.
So the thing is, the album does not change at all. It's just
Okay.
it's in 1998 now, at the height of Korn and Limp Bizkit, instead of 2002 or 2003 when everything was kind of fading off.
So
I'm gonna say a
Switched.
4.
Yeah, like Switch is really interesting, right? Because they have like 2 other records after that one. So like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did
it's a
do
Ghost
pretty
in the
okay.
Machine.
They did do pretty okay. Like I see them as like I don't want to compare them to like Nothing Face, but I feel like them and Nothing Face would like hit the stratosphere if they released their stuff a little earlier.
Mhm.
Like both of those bands really
Yeah,
needed that push.
Nothing Face even like coming out in like Pacifier was what 96.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they were
They
ear-
just
they
never
were
caught
early.
on, and
They did.
I don't understand why. But okay, so you're going to 4, and what are you going, Doug?
4.5. Like
Okay.
I think Switch is one of those bands. They hit the formula really well with like the genre itself. Like they were pretty melodic, but that
I think
first
the
record
melody would have
itself-
helped them.
Yeah,
Like I
for
think they
sure.
would have broken.
They
through
had
pretty
a
well.
few songs like I'd say like Reflections or like Anyone that would probably be like too heavy for radio.
Yeah, but like a lot of those bands had like songs like that were like buried deep on the album. But sending like the same singles to radio, I think they would have done all right.
Anymore, not Anyone. I keep getting stuff wrong on this show all the time because I don't prep.
Correction.
So
Just
this
blame
one,
the cloud people.
This one won't be personal biased or anything. Steppa.
Okay. Okay. Do you want like a realistic answer, or do you
Yeah.
want like
No, but like you can fanboy for it, but like
Okay.
a realistic answer. Put them in basically the stratosphere of 1998 nu metal.
Okay.
and
I
see how
feel
they
like Steppa would have like been the band that ended up being like Incubus in the way that
Okay.
they would have probably. Well, the thing is, I know that from their demos and from like interviews. Well, not interviews, but like the
What's the
message
other
board
one?
stuff.
5.
do you want
I'm
to
gonna
know?
say 5.
Okay.
Oh. But like I would have seen them as like a band that kind of follow in the footsteps of Incubus if they hit it early enough, because they
It's-
definitely have that formula.
It's also interesting to think about, like, me making this alternate reality. These bands, a lot of these bands probably wouldn't have been one and done bands. Like, they would have had a chance. So, like, it'd be interesting to see how they would have properly progressed, given like actual like momentum.
Dude,
Well, here's
if we
the
go
thing,
back
but
and
here's the no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna make a stupid joke. You can go right ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say Stepa almost did get on Interscope. That little black CD that I held up, that was their Interscope demo tape.
Oh,
They had, it was like 3 songs. I believe it was Aquarium, Mountain, and PLU that were all like alternate versions.
okay.
That had, it had the same production as the final album, or like at least similar, and like they were just different. They're like extended versions, which I think the version of Mountain on that EP is better. But no, I believe it was like either tensions between the band or some personal things happened between the members and it didn't work out. But they almost got signed to Interscope.
Yeah, because
that probably
Chaz left.
That
in
would have
like
been cool.
2002.
Like, I don't know how much it would have helped them at that time, but it would have been good to actually have like a proper, decent sized label backing you.
I imagine they probably would have gone the same way as Incubus, or like, dare I even say 311.
No way.
Well,
311?
Well,
No way.
maybe a little bit.
I think Incubus is a good trajectory for where Stepa would have gone had they had the proper push. Like, they probably would have gone more melodic and like been like started to almost incorporate softer elements like Incubus started to do with Morning View and stuff like that.
My only point on that being, if you've heard the Stepa demos from like after their first album, they do have some heavier songs. They have songs like Teenage Funeral, which kind of go into like a little. Honestly, I could have also seen them go into a more metalcore direction. Like, I could definitely hear like an early metalcore sound to it as well. Maybe more like mid 2000s emo.
Yeah, no, I was about to say
I
they could pull off Finch like any day.
Yeah. Oh, like post-hardcore, I guess, because it's not like quite metalcore.
I could see them. Yeah, I could see Stepa turning more post-hardcore.
Yeah,
being like Finch,
for sure.
being like Blindside.
Yeah, I that's like the other direction I'd probably see them going in if it wasn't for like, because they did have some like wacky, really interesting elements. They had like really interesting sounds, effects. Their singing, it wasn't as like I don't want to say like dynamic as like Brandon from Incubus, but also like don't compare anyone to him. He's like stellar. But like Blake Beckman's a really good singer, and I didn't do that intentionally, by the way. that just happened. But no, like, give credit where it's due. Like, Blake Beckman's a phenomenal singer. He can sing really well. His screams are awesome, and I genuinely could see him pulling off more of a Patton-esque kind of interpretation with his singing. He definitely has a voice that it would work well with, and so that kind of Incubus push, I can hear it, like, for sure.
Okay. How about Third Strike?
Ooh. How many records did they have? I've heard like
technically they have 2 albums and an EP, but the first album was Dime Store
Hoods. Yeah.
Okay. Orion, I'm curious to hear your opinion on them, because I have an opinion of them and it's not like the greatest, but maybe
I generally think they're just kind of okay, but
so I picked up the Dime Store Hoods album on a whim just because I was like, oh, it's Third Strike, and I listened to it. I thought it was good, not amazing, but I mean, it was good. I loved what was that album called?
No Light. Wait.
No, the song
Lost
is called
Angel.
Lost Angel. No Light is the song.
Yeah.
But like No Light and Blind My Eyes, I used to listen to those songs all the time in high school, and I still really like the record as a whole. Even now, I think it's great, you know. But I don't think there was a lot of radio push for them. Like, if you listen to some of the deep cut tracks on the album, they definitely go into some like more real and just kind of like, it's not the kind of new metal that you would listen to and it's like, yeah,
okay,
and take that, Dad. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely tackles a lot of real topics. You know, a lot of like gang violence and like growing up in the hard parts of town and stuff. I mean, it's definitely very real, and I don't think something like that would have done well on radio. I think something like No Light would have. But even then, that song, at least compared to a lot of other new metal songs of that caliber, is still darker than, you know.
Yeah. But you don't think it would have fit quite the same in like Limp Bizkit, Korn driven?
No, they're way more
90s.
serious than that.
Okay.
So my opinion is somewhat similar, and I think they'd be more of a fan favorite band in the scene, but then still not have as much promotion. They'd be a band that kind of like, I don't want to compare them to like E Town Concrete or like
Ugh.
Downset.
I
Like,
wouldn't. Oh,
yeah,
you
like
triggered detox. You triggered
okay,
him.
okay, but like I like Downset's like another, I guess, where it's like
I do like
Downset.
Downset.
Yeah, like I don't think they were huge on the radio. At least I like
They
again,
weren't.
I wasn't from the '90s, but
Yeah, I have a
um,
very hot take on Downset.
really, do you just not like their songs where they're like,
No,
oh yeah,
I
the
think
government
no, no,
killed
no,
my
no.
dad.
I really like Downset.
Oh, okay, yeah, no,
I think
I like them too.
they should be where Rage Against the Machine are instead of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, because like
Fair.
they're not like faux communists that drive Bentleys. They're like they just talk about social issues, and they're like, yeah, police brutality sucks. And honestly, I feel like Third Strike would kind of be in if they came out earlier in the '90s,
So
either
they
98
so
or
they would have
earlier.
been the new metal underground heroes of the late 90s.
I
Instead of, I'm trying to think of who
Primer 55.
they almost would have been.
Side.
It's not the same sound, but they would have been like the Ultra Spank, where the late 90s, where they weren't popular, but in hindsight, everyone's like, man, Ultra Spank was so good.
I'd say like 40 Below Summer, and
40 Below Summer
I
as
mean,
well.
yeah, like I'd compare them more to
yeah,
40
40
Below.
Below Summer was great.
Yeah,
I'm
they
trying to
are.
think,
But
like,
but neither band were ever popular.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
as somebody who was there during that time, they weren't.
was
40
Low
Below?
Pro?
Even 40 Below.
Dude, it's actually insane how well 40
they were
Below.
a band that all the kids who liked new metal liked. They
Mhm.
just never, like, you'd never hear them on the radio. You never saw them on TV.
Yeah, they were like, if you know, you know. They're like
Yeah.
in the scene.
They were
band.
like the underground for like my school was like 40 Below Summer, Factory 81,
Damn.
Endo. Like those were the
Those are great
underground
bands.
ones.
Dude, Endo has like the punchiest like basketball snare tone. I fucking love it. It
I
sounds
love
like
that first album.
Yeah,
I like the
it's
second
so
one
good.
too, but I like the first album.
Their snare is so on point. I always say this. It's like an empty gym and then just bouncing this basketball as hard as you can, like hitting the floor. That is their snare, and it's like
Yeah, it's very
punchy
clunk.
and it's clunk. It's not clank. It's clunk. It's like
Yeah.
low, and something about it is really good. I really like
Yeah,
it.
it's they have a really good snare, especially on Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So we mentioned these guys, and they were also mentioned jokingly for a second. Sev.
Oh,
I-
I'm sorry. I feel so bad if the guys from Sev somehow find this and they're like, "Man, we're a joke to these guys. What the fuck? They only see us
They're
as
not
a
a joke.
Pepsi band."
Okay.
No,
we
no.
spoke
I like
nicely of them earlier.
Yeah, I know. And like Front of the Line's awesome. The album, I called them new metal Smash Mouth, Orion.
Yeah, fair.
Like, like
You did.
Honestly, my opinion doesn't change. I wouldn't give them a super high score. I feel like they're too Limp Bizkit-y, and I feel like even in '98 they'd probably
They would have been
still
like,
become...
they would have been like, these guys are copying these guys. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
and, yeah, and I genuinely feel like they wouldn't have seen as much success. I think the radio commercial was like one of the main reasons they even got popular. But it is like a pretty okay album considering, like if the radio commercial didn't happen, it'd just be like a really cool underground new metal album. But like, nonetheless,
I haven't listened to it. I've listened to the one song that you sent me, and I watched the Pepsi commercial. And I thought that was fun. I just don't remember much. I mean, they're not a bad band. I need to listen to that whole album before.
Yeah, but I could see them getting like just kind of like pushed to the side because they sound a lot like another band who's more popular. This one is interesting because I actually don't know how this band would have done at this time because they, while being ahead of their time, they never kind of fit in. Pulse Ultra.
I can't speak about Pulse Ultra because I
can't
haven't listened to a lot of Pulse Ultra. Take
I
it
think
away.
Headspace is an unbelievably underrated record.
Yeah.
I'd probably go in the same way as like Switched. I'd probably say a 4 for them. Because I think Build Your Cages is just the perfect single. Like, it has great riffs, it has a really good chorus hook, solid verses and bridge. I mean, it's just an overall just really solid song that just grabs you. I mean, I listened to that song and it immediately stuck in my head.
Which that's the obvious radio single choice for that album, and it was the right choice at the time.
There's a lot of really good Canadian nu metal bands that didn't get the time or placement that they deserved.
Just a quick side.
Mhm.
Pick a second single from Headspace.
Orion?
I'm trying to think. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. I haven't listened to that record in like a year. As much as I remember it being good, I don't remember a lot of the other songs on it. You know?
Yeah, like I think that's the only thing that might hold them up, is the fact that like I think Build Your Cages would have been a good radio single, and then they would have been like,
Here, let me look at here.
Slippin'
I'm gonna
Sin?
cheat for a second. I'm gonna cheat. Hold on.
Or what's the one with the Taproot guy?
Oh,
Is it Big Brother?
Taproot guy.
Taproot
Yeah,
guy.
Big Brother.
Taproot guy.
What's another? Oh,
Richards.
Slip in Sin. Slip in Sin is a good song.
Yeah, Slippin' Sin.
That one's good. I need to listen. I'm gonna listen to this album again after I get off the call, because I tend to get into a phase where I just listen to like a big section of nu metal albums over and over again. This ain't one of them, but
So
yeah, no, Build Your Cage is a great song. Slip in Sin is good. I need to think of the other ones.
this is one that I think would have done very well, and it would have actually knocked another band out of place. OTEP.
Okay. When you said that, I thought you were gonna say another band, but I don't want to say it just in case they're on this list because I want to save my opinion for them. Yeah, I think OTEP would have definitely done well. Like considering like both lyrical themes are both serious and they're also just insanely heavy.
Yeah.
Like that.
They are super heavy.
Yeah,
I think
they do really well.
I think the
if this
heaviness
DS
might have thrown off some people, but I think the having a female vocalist thing might have put them in the spot that Kitty got.
I knew you were gonna go there with that. Yeah, no, I definitely hear it. Plus, I prefer OTEP over Kitty. If we're comparing the two bands, I like OTEP.
I do too. And like, while Kitty definitely had the all-female thing, but like,
Yeah.
I think there weren't many female vocalists in nu metal around that time, unless you count like Guano Apes.
Yeah, Guano Apes was great, and then also Skunk Anansi.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and they did that song with Seven Dust.
Yeah,
which that's how
amazing song.
That and their version of Army of Me that they did with Bjork was so good. I don't know if you've heard it. They did like a nu metal version.
I saw that video. Yeah, it's the live video.
Army of Me by Bjork before Holiday did, and I was them and some other band that did it that like convinced them to go like, yeah, you know what, this would be a good cover.
In 1996, Power Man 5000 did a cover of Army.
Okay. Yeah, there's something, dude, Bjork is nu metal because like not her music, but something about Bjork in herself is like she's just so infectious with like the scenes of music that she's
crazy,
but
in a good way.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
She's like,
well, I'll be.
She's inspired so many bands and artists that like you wouldn't expect, because this kind of artistic like shit, even artists today like rip off Bjork. A lot of modern pop music, like I'd say like Poppy rips off Bjork. Were you gonna mention that?
I know very
Ryan?
little Poppy.
No, I don't listen to Poppy. I've listened to
Okay.
that one song that was like Bury Me 6 Feet Deep in Concrete or whatever that song was. Like,
I know Limp Bizkit wrote a couple songs that for Poppy. It's not that they were ghostwriting. She was like working with Fred Durst, and I think a couple of the songs like Pill Popper from their new album was supposed to be like a Poppy song, and it ended up on the new Limp Bizkit album. So I mean, I like that song. It's really good. It's like them going back to the truth era, like with serious lyrics about drug abuse and like addiction. Good stuff.
I love The Unquestionable Truth. Great EP.
So good.
And I was gonna say about OTEP, I feel like if like Sevastra or The Ascension came out in like 1997 or 98, that would have just shot them into the stratosphere, I think, because those albums are
Do you
crazy.
think if OTEP, like Sevastra, as heavy as it is, came out in 98, do you think that the reaction to Slipknot's first album would have been a little tamer? They would have been more expecting it.
Yeah.
I think OTEP, I'm really going to say it, I think OTEP is a crazier vocalist than Corey Taylor. I think she's more of a technically proficient vocalist. I mean, some of her growls and her shrieks on, like, you think of like Ghost Flowers or Eat the Children or Blood Pigs or something like that. She is just off the rails.
She also goes like frantic sometimes, which works in her favor.
And then like Jonestown Tea is her daddy. Like that song is really
That's her daddy.
dark. Yeah, I was just about to say that. But no, I mean, if Savastra, the only issue I have with that album, if they kicked a bunch of the interludes off of it, I think it would have been like a perfect
You don't
album.
like Thoughts?
So I feel
No,
like
I
that
don't
that
like
was the
songs.
that was the issue that like a lot of people had when it was album of the week on Newport. Like I talked to a lot
Yeah.
of people about the album. They were like, "There's just too many interludes where it
There's a
just
lot
kind of
interludes.
it bogs up the album's flow. It just
Did
makes
I-
it a lot.
Yeah,
If
it
I
does.
ever
I mean,
told
the
you-
songs that are actual songs are awesome. Like I was
Great.
listening to it during a workout, and I was like, another interlude? Come on. And then I kept hitting skipped, and then it's like, oh man, the song is amazing.
Dude,
Interlude.
tell that to Motor Grader.
They're like, what if we have 12 interludes?
Interludes
What if
and
we have an
12
interlude
tracks
before
in
every
between
song?
the interludes. Jesus Christ, guys.
They're like stereo month that on streaming it's like do not
They
put
have,
on
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
As soon as I got that album, I cut all the interludes out.
Yeah.
Have I ever told the fact that I've seen OTEP 3 times, and not only have I seen Jonestown Tea live, I've seen Thoughts live?
Oh,
Yeah,
They
I
played
think
the
you told me
interlude
that
live?
once, but that still just weirds me
They
out.
did
Like
Thoughts.
why
They
that
did
one?
Thoughts at Ozfest.
interesting. I mean,
Ooh, that must
it'd
have
be
been
the
really
equivalent
weird.
of like Napalm
was-
Death doing
it-
You Suffer.
Ugh. Well, it was so weird because whatever the song is after. Fuck. Is it Filthy that comes right after it?
I'm gonna
I
cheat
like
again
that
because
song.
I have Spotify right
Yeah,
now.
we can just
Whatever Thoughts bleeds into, like that was what
Filthy,
the point
yeah.
of the song was. Yeah, so it bled into. I believe Filthy was
Okay.
the closer for their set. So they did Thoughts, and she did stand there and like talk all the vocal parts. I was like, this is weird. I don't
I
like it.
imagine that would have been awkward.
Yeah, but then everything else was really good. All right, so OTEP are given yay.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I'd
definitely.
say like a 4 or 5.
I
I
would say like a
genuinely-
3.5
Okay.
or 4. Yeah.
I just feel like OTEP would have made like a much huger impression in '98 than there's a
Yeah.
lot of new metal now that I think about it from 2001, 2002 that you throw them back a couple of years, they would have done
A lot of
pretty
bands
damn
were
well.
just too late.
Yeah.
Like rest in peace, Index Case.
Yeah. So in a similar vein, Down the Sun.
Okay. I'm so glad you brought up Down the Sun. Yeah, and they would have like okay, considering like their relationship with Slipknot, like it's a little weird to go like, yeah, if Down the Sun came out before Slipknot, they would have been like Slipknot, but
Yeah.
because they were like on
Ac-
weren't they on like Sean Cran's like label?
Yeah, they were
produced the album?
getting heavy promotion from them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like Slipknot.
And they were on. They were either on Roadrunner or a subset
Yeah.
of Roadrunner.
Yeah. I feel like if we were to just take take that album rather, and put it in the hands of a record label like Universal or like anyone that's willing to just promote this album and this band back in '98, they would have been the equivalent of Slipknot, probably
Yeah.
much before Slipknot. And that album is so good. It's insanely heavy. And I go back to it every now and then, just think about the lost potential that this band
Yeah.
had. It's such a shame. But it's kind of sad to listen to that record because you're
There's
like,
also
man,
there's a lot of subtle melody on that album as well.
There
Like,
is.
there's good melodic segments on top of
Mhm.
just being brutal at times.
yeah. I saw the new court interview with their I think it was their bass player. It was Kook, and he mentioned that the song Jars was about their keyboard player who had like a bunch of like dolls and stuff in jars, and he'd like leave it on shelves, and then randomly in the studio a jar just exploded, and that sample in the start of the song is actually them recording the sound of like the jar just spontaneously exploding
What?
and then, like,
What?
and then like looping it
They're
and putting it in the
possessed.
song. It's like that is so cool.
That's
I
so
don't know-
weird. What?
I don't know what they did to that jar, but god damn, it sounds so cool on the
That
song.
just
in
sounds like it's
context.
possessed.
Yeah.
So
Down the Sun, I'd give them like a 4. I'd say throw them on a tour with Soulfly too, and goddamn, you got yourself like a
Down the Sun
Heavy-ass band.
Soulfly tour in '98 would have been great.
yeah.
That would have been really heavy.
Mhm.
Do you have any thoughts on it, Orion, or are you just sticking by what he said?
I mean, I'm just gonna take what he said.
Aw.
That's only like I've only listened to that album like maybe once in my life, and the only like I think Medicated is a great song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the Headspace situation where it's like, yeah, it's a great album. I only know one song off of it, so I can't really say much of an opinion on them.
I got
I
you.
will say I think I had no idea that they had two vocalists until I watched the music video, and I was like, they sound
And the
almost
guy
the
has
same.
face tats. He looks so
Yeah.
scary. Dude, this was like before
Oh, he's
face
a scary
tats.
dude.
Yeah, this was before they were like, ha, all these pansy fucking mumble rappers have face tats. Like they just look punchable. That guy has like straight up prison tats on his face. Like he would
Yeah,
fucking
He
that
also
guy
looks like he
looks like
weighs like
he's served time.
250.
yeah,
Drop
he's
most people.
scary. Like I watched their music videos. It's like, man, I really wish I wasn't like if I were in a pit and this band was playing, I would get hit with barbed wire somehow, like around
Yeah.
my neck and just choke to death.
Jeez. Yeah.
Like
So here's an interesting one because technically they did come out in the mid 90s, but their debut album through many no fault of their own, I think, didn't come out till 2002. Dead Z.
They deserve
dude.
so much better.
So put Dead Z, like let Dead Z predate, even though I know Orgy came out in 98 as well. So let Dead Z predate Orgy. Does Dead Z do better than Orgy did?
No.
Okay.
I feel like here's the thing. And that's not to say I prefer Dead Z over Orgy if we're just speaking purely about the music, but I feel like they got lumped into the wrong genre. Like apart from like Key to Gramercy Park or like Azure, or sorry, yeah, that's the one on Phantasmagore. Like they're not really a new metal band at all. I'd say they're more like a synthwave or like I'd say like a heavier Depeche Mode, if that counts, kind of band.
The thing is, I know exactly what you're trying to.
Yeah,
allude
I
to.
don't know. I don't know if I'm saying it away. Like synthwave is not the kind of genre that
like industrial new wave. Like
yeah,
I
it's
guess
like
new wave
it's
is
like almost it's like almost industrial, but not quite, and then it's almost synth pop, but it's not quite.
Yeah.
And then it does
it's like doing so many things and it's doing it well, but it got lumped into the new metal crowd, and I feel like that wasn't really like the right space for it. Like if they had more like heavy guitar parts and bounce roofs and stuff, I feel like they would have done great. And I think that Commencement and Phantasmagore are great albums, but it's like they're not really. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Do you think they would have done so take away new metal promotion? Do you think they could have been done? Do you think they could have done well, been promoted to a different crowd in the late 90s?
Industrial crowd for sure. Yeah, I think they would have done great.
Like stick them on like a tour with like Stabbing Westward or somebody?
I'd say more like Sisters of Mercy or like Machines of Loving Grace or something like that. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Do you have any opinions on Dead Z Dugog?
I don't.
Okay.
This is like Orion to the max. I'm gonna let him speak his piece. And
that's fine.
Honestly,
Yeah,
it's good.
So there's two bands I listed here who I don't know how familiar you are with either band, so I'm just gonna name them at the same time. Lollipop Lustkill.
Oh, I don't know them.
Sinistar.
Never listen to them. I know Sinistar because you showed me a couple of their songs, but I don't remember them at all.
Okay.
I can't speak on either of those bands.
Are those the last two? Because I thought there was going to be okay. No,
I was basically going through my list while we were talking and going, who might they not know? But okay, so those two.
I keep getting Lollipop Lustkill and Lunatic Candy Creep mixed up.
Lollipop Lustkill's better.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
I mean, it was the same thing with like me confusing Nine Inch Nails and Ice Nine Kills all the way throughout
son of a
high school.
those couldn't be further apart.
I know. But during my metalcore days, when I was a 14-year-old edgelord, like Ice Nine Kills was a band that I'd always hear about, but then I'm like, wait, aren't they from like the 90s? Aren't they like that industrial band? And like I'd always
I have a coworker who swears by Ice Nine Kills. And I've seen some of their stuff and I'm like, it's entertaining.
It is.
Care that much though.
They got the
showmanship. That are like super into them, so I don't want to say much.
I have friends that are super into them as well. They have great showmanship. And they got that metalcore thing down Whether or not it's my thing or not, I don't know.
What's that one song on the Silver Scream about the crow? It's like
There's a song about the crow? Now I'm
yeah, there's a song
interested.
about the
What
crow
the
on there.
fuck?
Dang it, what is it called? I'm gonna have to cheat again.
Yeah, go cheat.
Cheating.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Uh,
like-
A Grave Mistake. That's a great song.
Oh, is that what it's about?
Yeah,
Okay, I
that
know the
song.
song.
Every song on the Silver Scream is about a horror movie of some
I know,
sort. Just
I
like
know.
how every trick in the book is a song about a piece of literature.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like they make concept albums about interesting things, which I really like the premise. I just need to objectively look at their stuff and say, like, all right, I'm gonna go in wanting to enjoy this, and
We got to do that.
I
We
haven't
got to
listened to
do.
it. Yeah.
We got to do
We'll do
a
a listening party
Dropspike
sometime.
concept album.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know what we're gonna write about. We're gonna write about something. It'll be with Apotheosis. We were doing that.
The
We have a
lizard
concept.
government.
The lizard, yeah, the lizard government, cloud people, and how a dead Dropspike accidentally hit a government official or a diplomat or something, and it starts a war
Yeah.
between two non-existent countries.
I thought about trolling the new metal preservation server. I made a fake album cover for an album called the Ipswich Taco Bell Disappearance Conspiracy by
Is
Flag
that
Tape.
a secret Head PE album
Yeah.
that I just don't know about?
And I was gonna be like, yo, I found this new metal album and the cover is like really bad. And
It would be incredibly easy to troll some of them. Like just make something that looks a little archaic, have a really simplified name, and be
I'm gonna
like,
DM you the cover.
they're from Italy, from like
From
1999.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know the band Kitchen Knife Conspiracy.
Oh,
but
dude,
I
yeah,
found
Handicapitated is an awesome album.
Yeah, so Kitchen Knife Conspiracy is technically death metal or slam metal or grindcore or whatever the fuck you want to label
It's new
that
metal.
kind of. It's basically new metal. Because they have an album called Handicapitated from 2001
Oh, I don't
that
have the
is
cover on.
that's on a Has Sub album. It's on like a Has Sub compilation, and it's on some like random kids new metal playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's
There's
the
that
most
one song on there. It's like I am having an emotional eclipse,
and I'm
or
gonna
something.
set myself on fire.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the
fucking-
one.
it's
Yeah,
so
the riff
funny.
in that song is totally new metal, and the guitar tone
Yeah.
sounds like a razor.
That album is new metal. Like 100%. There's rapping, so it's like rapping, death metal, slam metal, new metal. If you like that, if you like Down the Sun, you'll like Handicapitated. But they're a band that was just like they need it. I forgot what we were even like why I'm bringing them up, but like
We were
random
listening
obscure-
to them in a call with Ian, and then I also showed you God Mode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool ass obscure band people need to hear.
So let's divide the call.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Oh.
Moto Grader.
Okay. Orion, do you want to say it first, or do you want to? Should
I'll
I?
take it first.
Like,
Go
on.
You know what? This is probably going to be a controversial take. Like, ignore all the stuff that he's been doing, like post 2015, because I mean, I'll say I don't agree with his views or anything lately. But speaking as from the context of 2003, Ivan Moody was a fantastic vocalist, and he wrote some very catchy songs. And I think that 2003 Motor Grader album is really great.
It is. I love that album.
It's insanely good, dude. I fucking love that Motor Grader album.
I wish that the discourse surrounding that album wasn't, oh, Five Finger Death Punch sucks and Ivan Moody is twat. Like, yeah, we all know that. Like, can we just talk about this record that came out like almost 20 years ago? You know, he wasn't like that back then, you know?
So put Moto Grader in 1998. How do they feel?
Oh, they would have done great.
Okay, but you got to consider that it has to be that lineup because Motor Grader existed in the 90s, but they were so trashy. And I don't know if you've heard that demo. It's indie is like dog water. It's so awful. I'm sorry if there's the biggest indie fan out there that's like, that's my favorite album of all time and you've broken my heart. Pal, I'm so sorry. It's garbage. It's straight up
indie.
awful.
Well, there was indie, and then there's all the projects Ivan Moody was in Moto Grader. None of those are very good.
That Moto Grader lineup.
What do you think about Ghost Machine?
I love Ghost Machine actually, and I wish he had kept doing it.
Me too. And
I gotta listen
took
to
that
Ghost
album
Machine.
off of streaming.
Oh, what?
I was like in middle school when they did that. I was listening to them in middle school and they took that album off.
I bought the album because I was a huge Moto Grader fan, and then Ivan left Moto Grader.
When you search Ghost Machine, Moto Grader pops up.
Yay!
Oh,
And then he announced that he was doing Ghost Machine, so I bought the first album. So I have the first one. I don't have the re-release that's like hypersensitive or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked that album. And then Five Finger Death Punch happened, which
So-
was fine for a
I've
couple
heard the
albums.
early Five Finger Death Punch out. I'd say like
The first
until,
three
like,
Five Finger
American
Death Punch
Capitalist,
albums,
it's
I
good.
don't mind. They're fine. They're stupid, but they're fine.
yeah, they're passively dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
like lyrically they're stupid, but he's still like, if you take away the lyrics like completely and just focus on everything else, including his vocal style, it's good. It's just that the lyrics are bad.
Yeah. I know if Holiday Kirk was in this call right now, he
would skin all of us alive.
He would skin all of us. Yeah.
He's too busy
Motivator,
writing
dude.
for Metal Hammer.
Yeah, he'd skin us and feed us to our new metal and all the people that follow his Twitter account. Anyways,
That's 80,000 people.
yeah, they eat us.
I can't believe it's that
because
high.
he despises
Dude, he
Motor
blew
Grader,
up.
and oh yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I feel like there's such a volatile lineup. Like even back then, it's like if a single member leaves Motor Grader from that specific lineup, it's not going to be the same. And I know a lot of people say it's Ivan Moody. He was like the glue for that band, and I really hope that is the case because if we take that exact lineup of Motor Grader, move them to '98. I think they would have done significantly well. Like that's a really well put together album.
Take that era, like I know it's a couple years after what I just said, but take that era, that lineup of Motor Grader, put them in early 2000s, put them on the Pledge of Allegiance tour with Slipknot, Mudvayne, and American Head Charge.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been
that would have worked.
Instead of like
been a
System of a
perfect tour for
Down.
them.
How does those four bands go?
I genuinely feel like with enough push and a good touring cycle like that, they would have actually blown up. And
yeah, no,
I don't know if that would have.
have.
But the thing is, I don't know if that would have convinced Ivan to stay because I know he genuinely despises the guys from that band. Like,
Oh,
there was
sucks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't like the guys from Motor Grader.
Then again, he doesn't really work well with a lot of people.
I know. One of my buddies, Zerai, during a Five Finger Death Punch show in Belgium, actually managed to go talk to Ivan, and he went and talked to him, and he mentioned Motor Grader, and he's like, "Fuck those druggies! I fucking hate them," and like just fucking walked away like during this conversation with this fan who's like a kid talking to Ivan Moody, and he just like cuts him off. He's like, "I fucking hate those guys," and he just like leaves. And I was like, well.
Ivan Moody is just a very volatile person, just as is. So
even when I was talking to Dez, like a couple, like during the first Devil Driver cycle,
Coal Chamber.
When I mentioned,
wow, okay.
Yeah, because I've spoken to Dez twice, and he was chill both times. But I talked to him at Ozfest after Devil's, because you could like buy a CD and then go meet the band. And I talked to him.
What year was this?
2003 or 4.
I think that first Devil Driver album came out in 2003.
Yeah. So it would have been around that time. But I mentioned Coal Chamber in front of him, and he wasn't like, oh, fuck. Like he was super chill about it. He's like, I was super proud about what we did, but it was time to move on. And like
that's a mature response.
Yeah. He was like, I wasn't happy with what we were doing, so I wanted to do something else.
God, I love Coal Chamber.
Depswa. Put Depswa in 1990.
Take it away. This is like tailored to you. Go for it.
There's a couple in here that are tailored to Doug.
Yeah. No, what can I say? I mean, I think I know that's you know what, music isn't objective. I think Two Angels and a Dream is one of the best albums ever made. Like, that's one of the best albums I've ever heard. I think it's perfect every single track through, you know, starting at This Time all the way to Traveler's Song. I mean, it's just a perfect blend of that early 2000s radio hard rock and like the sort of like Unloco, Il Nino, Drop C, Drop B new metal. And Jeremy Penick has a soaring voice. I mean, it's beautiful. And a lot of the lyrics he was writing also dealt like, it was kind of vague, but at the same time, it was poetic and like personal enough to where you could feel the emotion. Like if you listen to like the Prom song or the title track, Two Angels and a Dream,
yeah,
like those nearly like That's Passage in the album from This Time, and then Not Responsible, and then I forgot the third track. I'm trying to think of the progression of the album, but like
What's the
Let It Go, Promise.
Is Let It Go the third song?
Let It Go is the fourth song.
Needles?
Needles, yes, thank you. Yeah, that one, Needles, Let It Go, the Prom song, and then Two Angels in a Dream.
I also
That
like
just makes me
Silhouette
cry, bro.
and is it The Path?
The Path, yeah, that song is
Yeah.
great. And I think Where I've Begun and Silhouette and yeah, every single song on that album is
I love that
single
entire
worthy.
album.
Yeah, From the Inside.
I feel that if they like I know they're more lumped in with nu metal than actually being nu metal. They have moments, but
well, they were more nu metal when they were still Carcinogen.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like if they went into the more melodic depth swa direction before they did the Carcinogen stuff, like if they released Two Angels and a Dream in the same place where the depth swa album came out, I feel like they would have done amazing. Like I would just say 5 for them.
I think they probably not so much the nu metal crowd, but I think they would have done really well for like the radio rock crowd.
Yeah.
And like the late 90s.
They should have been as big as Trapped were back in the day. Like I feel like This Time
I think they should have been bigger than Trapped.
Trapped, yeah, like bigger. Don't compare them to Trapped. I mean,
I'm not trying to compare them to Trapped. You know, here's a better comparison, and it was on the same label too. Trust Company.
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
Lonely Position of Neutral came out, I think, a couple of years before that, because I think
01 is Lonely Position. I think
that was 2001.
Yeah,
and then Two Angels in a Dream was I think 2003. If they would have gotten released at the same time, I think that would have been some heavy competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if you dumped them in the late 90s, I think you could have had Depswa opening for like the big bands of the time, and it would have felt right. You could have put Depswa with like Foo Fighters or somebody of that ilk.
That would have been perfect. Yeah, that would have been an amazing
worked.
show.
Here's one.
Or even somebody like Fuel.
Yeah, Fuel. Fuel is actually a really good shout. Like Fuel,
like
and
Brett Scallion's era Fuel would have been. Oh, I would have gotten tickets to that show instantly.
Do it. Here's this one I feel is more tailored to Doug, but maybe Orion has some opinions too.
We'll
Level.
See. Yeah, Level. Dude. Yeah, I love Level.
Again, I want him to take this one as well, because like I feel like Level would no. Well, I mean, I can speak on it.
You take this one.
Okay, I don't want to compare them to any other bands, but like I genuinely, well, I don't know how many albums did they even have, because like I've listened to
one.
They've had one, and that's it.
But if they've released it like 3 times or something.
Yeah. Okay.
They have the Japanese version with a blue cover, which I have, and it's like they have
a red one.
Is there like bonus tracks on there?
They have a one bonus track, and I think like an acoustic. It's like an acoustic version of Shattered, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they have the unreleased one that's all the demos that ended up being that Edema album.
Yeah, Bobby Reeves was the best Edema album was with Bobby Reeves.
Yeah. Complete agreement, actually.
I don't know. I'd say like, because like I've listened to them, but I'm not like super well versed. Like compared to Orion, I'd give them like a 3. Because I genuinely feel like bands like Levels, and like I can see a couple other bands also fitting into this direction as well, but like I don't want to throw them in like mid-card nu metal like Il Nino or whatever, but I feel like they have their spot as well. But like I don't know, like I see Orion like he instantly like lit up as soon as you mentioned Levels. I genuinely feel like he'd probably be more qualified to answer this one over me.
I mean,
you take the reins.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to take it away from you, Doug.
Nah, when Darwin's Waiting Room comes up, or if they do,
I'll let you talk about that.
I
mean, I love Orphan. I will say up front.
Yeah, no, we'll both take Darwin's Waiting Room together.
Yeah. Anyway, if it comes
actually, I do have one coming up that is tailor made for you both.
Okay.
Okay. Sweet. No, but like there's a bunch of single word. Like I know Down was the single, and then I'd also say like This Decision, Disaster Proof, Shattered.
I think Living Inside of Me probably would have done well as well.
Living Inside of Me would have also done great. And I could tell that Bobby Reeves, like even at the time, was like good with like management and stuff. Like, because even now he's like, you know, he released like a single every week from the album on streaming. He's like trying to chase the algorithm.
Yeah.
So
Which-
like I can tell that he knows what he's doing, you know, even back then. So it's definitely like, yeah, man, Level should have done way better than they actually did. They did great in Japan.
Yeah,
Ooh.
there were a bunch of new metal bands who did that.
Zero
Like
mine too.
Yeah, they liked their rap metal.
Yeah, bands like Muck are pretty cool.
Yeah,
too.
I do like Muck.
Muck is nice.
So this is an interesting one because
During
it
Grey.
almost doesn't count. No, not During Grey.
Oh.
So this one technically counts, but the album never really came out. Dry
Oh.
Cell.
Dry Cell. Okay. I don't want to keep comparing them to other bands that I don't quite like, but I do feel like Dry Cell would have done pretty well. In 98, like it's just heavy enough. I feel like it would have.
Would it have thrown a wrench in the Linkin Park plans?
So there's a lot of bands that could have thrown a wrench into the Linkin Park plans, but yeah, I definitely see that. But also, like Linkin Park had the spotlight that was empty, where it was like new metal bands were either in Korn's direction, in Limp Bizkit's direction, or in like heavier rap metal direction, where it's like it's not like corny Limp Bizkit, like $3.
Yeah.
I have like a thing with $3 Billy All. I personally just like it's a fun album and it did really well. No, not $3 Billy All.
Chocolate Starfish.
Chocolate Starfish, where I like it's a good album. It did really well, but it's not really the kind of new metal I personally want to hear, but it was clearly the stuff a lot of people did want to hear. And if it was fun party new metal, it was probably going to get promo in the 2000s. And I feel like that kind of let the vacuum for bands like Linkin Park where like, let me talk about my feelings, I'm upset, but it wasn't in like a I am being abused direction that like Korn went.
They didn't have the poppy elements.
Yeah.
Yet.
And but I definitely agree with like Dry Cell probably taking that, but also like I'd say that about like Darwin's Waiting Room as well. I feel like they'd be like the one band that would also like just throw a huge wrench into Linkin Park if they came out earlier.
Yeah, I think we can discuss Darwin's.
Okay.
So I think if Darwin's came out, I think they would have done a lot better than Dry Cell because the songs are a lot better than Dry Cell stuff.
Yeah. Because I'm like somewhat indifferent about like Dry Cell. Like I think they're really cool.
The thing is, I'm actually like I put them in the list, but I'm actually not really a Dry Cell fan.
Yeah, like I don't really.
I like about 2 songs off that album, and that's kind of it.
I see them like I see the Deadlights where it's like there's like
I like the Deadlights.
Do you like the Deadlights? Yeah. Okay. There was some controversy about that band recently. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like later as well. There was some. I don't want to keep up with
the new metal Deadlights or that new metalcore band that called themselves Deadlights?
The new metal band.
The lead guy from Deadlights is dead, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because he was the guy he went to Droid. And then he died.
Wait, what?
Is that not the same guy?
I didn't know it was. I mean, I listened to
the shirtless dude.
I'm nearly positive the guy from Deadlights, the singer, it was like Duke or something.
Well, shoot, no wonder that album is so expensive.
After Deadlights broke up, he went to Droid, and then he was there. He was either there for both albums or just the second one. And then, yeah, he died, I don't know, 2015-ish?
Oh, that's a shame.
But I really liked that Deadlights album. There's a demo album out there that has been, I've found it, like, I've never heard it, but I've seen, like, you know how people in the new Flack thing, they go hunt down old websites and stuff, like through the Wayback Machine. Yeah. I've seen imagery of like a Deadlights demo that was like 5 tracks, and I've never been able to find it. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I'm curious because I don't necessarily like hate the Deadlights. I like 4 or 5 of their songs. I think it's pretty like, but they're one of those bands where it's like they're underground new metal where I hear them, I listen to the album, and then I'm kind of indifferent. Where it's just like,
I can understand how they would be kind of forgettable. The same way that as much as I like Stereo Mud, I can kind of understand why Stereo Mud would be a little bit forgettable.
The only reason I actually listen to Stereo Mud is because Corey Lowry does bass on there, and he's the bassist for Stuck Mojo. So
Yeah, and
Well,
then
yeah.
didn't him and Clint get together for Dark New Day?
yeah, I think
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
And now Corey's playing bass for Seether. So he's getting
That I
around.
didn't know.
Yeah, he's currently Seether's bassist. But yeah, no, the Lowry brothers jump around and like they do their thing, either be it with post grunge, alternative metal, new metal. They have their hands in the scene, and they have for like a long time.
Also, if you listen to the Stereo Mud albums, like
I listened
like the guitar like playing is
Mhm.
very similar to Seven Dust.
Yeah, no, I hear
Like,
it. I
It's
hear it.
it's all there.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I actually kind of like. Yeah, I like Stereo Mud. They're pretty cool.
So Darwin's, we
Yeah.
talked about them being in the late 90s. Like, do you think they would fully take the mantle from Linkin Park, or do you think they would? Do you think they would do all right?
I think they'd go into a heavier direction. I know the first album
Yeah.
has a lot of melody into it, but you throw them into the 90s, that band has the potential to go much heavier, especially if their rapper doing the scream vocals.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really interesting blend because the scream rap stuff it's in the scene at the time, but I bands like Primer, when did like Introduction to Mayhem
I
come
think
out?
that was
2000.
2001.
2000.
Was
Okay,
2000?
so this is
I think
way
it was
before.
2000 because I'm pretty sure Primer 55 was on Ozfest 2000.
Okay,
I'm
so
cheating again.
This is before Il Nino, and this like Il Nino was a hardcore band in like '98. This is when like
Yeah,
Jose Rosado was
I've
doing
never
hardcore.
heard the early Il Nino
2000.
stuff.
It's good. Okay, early El Nino is fucking awesome. If you like Marauder, and if you like I was gonna say E-Town Concrete, but I know you don't like E-Town.
No.
Okay, well, if you don't,
I'm messing with you.
well, they have like an E-Town kind of sound. It's like slammy, groovy hardcore,
Okay.
like very New York hardcore. I'd compare it to like Slither by Earth Crisis, and I know Slither's technically a new metal album, but at the same time, it has that.
Yeah, but Earth Crisis like came from the hardcore scene. So
Yeah.
it counts.
Yeah. So I like lob them into that, but not with Darwin's. I feel like with Darwin's they have this really interesting blend and mesh with their sound. They scream and rap in '98. I don't think a lot of new metal bands at the time were blending those elements together as well as the bands in 2000 onwards, where bands like Primer started doing it really well. Slipknot did it really well on their first album. There's a lot of songs where Corey's rapping and screaming practically at the same time.
Yeah, and there was still hip hop elements in Slipknot at that time.
Very much
gone now.
Dude,
And I think that
Mhm.
man, I gotta stop interrupting. It's hard.
No, do you talk?
Oh. No, I was just gonna say, Eddie Rendini? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Yes.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Eddie from Darwin's Waiting Room kind of had that Wes Borland thing going on with his guitar playing style. Like if you hear a song like Spent, or even the single Feel So Stupid. I'm trying to think of that one song on there.
No.
I don't know.
Eddie,
why am I always blanking out?
Guitar style wise, comparing
Realized.
him. Yes, that's good. Even something like what's the heavier song at the end of the album? Transparent?
Yeah.
The closing track on that album is
not the closing, but the heavier one before the closing one.
I'm pretty sure.
Transparent. Yeah, it's transparent.
Okay.
And
Yeah, because All I Have Is Me is the closing one, right?
Yeah.
Which is my favorite song on the album.
Which is a really good song.
Yeah.
But yeah, comparing him to Wes makes a lot of sense because they're very they're not technically they're not a virtuoso style guitarist, but they're in a box very technically proficient. Like they're within the small little box they've given themselves. They're very good. They're very good at making a very strong groove, very rhythmically inclined guitar players. And like they've got that crunch. And like you can hear it in Darwin's. Like you're waiting for it to come out. And I think if given like the actual release, I think Apology Accepted would have probably been there. Like it felt like it was getting harder. And I think given good production, you probably would have felt it.
Yeah.
Probably around, and that was 2003, I think, when that was supposed to come out. Like, so you probably would have had like some minor metalcore influence as well. So it might have even gotten harder than it like the demos led it to believe. Like because you had like Chimera coming up, you had El Nino starting to become a little bit more corey.
Yeah.
God Forbid was coming out, Unearth, Shadows
Mhm.
Fall. Like they probably would have taken influence from that instead of, because they've spoken about the fact that when Apology Accepted was being demoed, their label kept coming back to him being like, can you write a song like Linkin Park? How about like System of a Down? They're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
We just write a song like us.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
they probably would have taken that and been like, no, let's go against what they're telling us to do and go a little heavier.
And Darwin's is one of those bands that already sound. I know a lot of people do throw the comparison to Linkin Park, but honestly, like just because they have two vocalists doesn't instantly make
That
them
is
like the
why
Linkin
they
Park
get the
replacement.
That's
They
why
are
they
like
get that's why they get the comparison.
they are, yeah, and it's like it's kind of stupid. Like I feel like they genuinely have a really unique sound. They're like wild cards and just like the sound that
I think they have a more, minus like the good songwriting that comes with Linkin Park. I think
Yeah.
Darwin's has a more interesting sound.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And I feel like if I
Add
could compare
Turntablist
Jabe,
and bam, they're like my favorite band
yeah,
now.
yeah, if I could compare Jabe to anyone vocally, I would honestly say he sounds more like a mix of Ian Kenny from Carnival and Brandon Boyd.
Oh, I hear it.
Like if I could say anything, like I see the Brandon Boyd comparison get tossed around to him sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
His pitch as well kind of reminds me a bit of Doug's favorite band, Taproot.
No way.
Yeah, no, I can definitely hear that.
And but yeah, like just because they both have the nasally thing going on, and I know they were never popular, but Dragpipe, the vocalist, has a similar thing going on with his vocals.
I thought I remember his voice being way more raspy.
It is raspy, but like when he does like clean, that's because for the most part he does like harsh vocals, but when he does do clean vocals, like it does get very nasally. Like there's a couple of songs on that album that are like what's it called? Fountain of Pain, which I think is almost entirely clean. Like he gets very like whiny and nasally on that song.
Sounds right up my alley.
Do it. All right, so back to the list. I might lump these guys together too, just because they both have very similar names, even though they have kind of different sounds. The Blank Theory.
Okay. Yeah.
And can you guess what the other one is? Who has a very
Uh,
similar name to that?
Apex Theory?
There you go. You did it.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Orion, because I have an opinion on the Blank Theory, but I'm like curious. Do you like them like a lot? Because
I do. I don't like them a lot. I mean, I like Beyond the Calm of the Corridor, especially Father's Eyes, and you know everybody likes. Please
Uh,
not say it.
that's a band.
Middle of Nowhere.
I managed to get my
single
dad
off that
into
album.
Blank
Middle of
Theory.
Nowhere. Yeah, there we go.
Like it's weird. Like they're one of those bands that like I found like what, a year ago. Like no, I literally got into them like really recently, and I managed to like get my dad into them by like sneaking a couple of their songs into our joint playlists, and he was like, "Whoa, this is okay. This is good stuff. This sounds like Linkin Park," and I was like, "Yeah." And but for the most part, yeah, I really like the industrial elements and like the use of sample drums and MPCs. Now I know whenever MPCs and sample drums are brought up in nu metal, Primer is always the band that's like them, like everyone compares bands to Primer because they were like the first nu metal band to like not have a drummer like on the record. On the very first one it was like all drum machine stuff, which I don't know if you guys knew that.
I didn't know that until you
Okay.
just said that.
Only
and now
because
it makes,
he told me before.
Yeah,
now it makes a whole lot more sense.
So Primer's album writing is so interesting, and Bobby has talked about it on the Scott Bowling show when they brought him up on there, and he's a really interesting dude. The dude's been through a lot of shit, and honestly, like my heart goes out to him. I sent him an email like a year ago to check up on him because Bobby Burns is I do care about him a lot.
Who's
and like
the Primer 55 guy who passed away?
Oh, Jason, their singer.
Okay.
Vocalist. Yeah, no, Bobby was their guitar player and bassist and technically also producer. Like he was like he literally did almost everything in that band by himself in the studio for their first record.
Are there drums on the second album?
Yeah, they're real, and the drummer on their second album is the guy from Helmet.
Really?
Yeah,
wow,
the drummer from Helmet. did the drumming for their second record. Good shit. Both albums are really good. But yeah, no, Bobby's been through a lot of shit. And oh yeah, back to the Blank Theory, right? I'm sorry, I like swayed this into a completely different
That's
direction.
fine.
I really enjoy certain elements of the Blank Theory's music. However, I feel like in the scope of 98 nu metal, I don't know how I would play. I don't know where I'd put them. Would I put them in bands where it's like they tour with Fear Factory or
No.
they tour with the industrial scene? Like I'd see them more in like the industrial scene. Like was Orgy around? Like because I don't know.
Orgy's
like,
98.
98. So like you'd probably see them around the same places that you'd see Orgy, right? Maybe they tour with Cold Chamber. I'm not too sure, but I feel like the Blank Theory has
yeah,
this,
because
like,
that's Cold Chamber almost at chamber music period.
Yeah.
So you could have
right?
done
I would
chamber
imagine
music.
they would. Like you brought up earlier, like Stabbing Westward. I think they would have done a tour with like
Yeah.
Stabbing Westward and like Gravity Kills.
Yeah,
or something
Gravity
like
Kills
that.
probably would have worked as well.
Like I definitely see them in either this like post grunge sound or like scene mixed with like a little bit of the industrial scene. And I feel like that's really where their place would be. I'm not sure if they'd like blow up because they do have songs that would be like that would work really well on the radio. Like Addicted is so catchy, and I feel like that probably work on the radio as well. But I don't know. Like
I wonder if it would have been too soon.
yeah, it's
for
2000Z for 98.
Yeah, it is like because they almost have not quite emo because I know the guys went on to be Medina Lake.
Yeah,
but
which that's like so opposite from the Blank Theory.
Yeah.
Oh,
which I do like Medina Lake.
Yeah.
But
I like what I've heard from them.
but how's it sound? I'm curious.
It's like soft
pop
emo
punky.
rock.
Okay.
I wonder if they would have been a little too emo-ish. Like
Would you compare them to Dashboard Confessional?
Oh, I like Vindicated.
Yeah, I like Vindicated. Everybody likes Vindicated.
And that's like my knowledge of Dashboard Confessional is Vindicated and Screaming Infidelities.
I love Hands Down.
I don't know if I know that one.
It's a good one.
But yeah,
that's the first thing I think of when I think Medina Lake is Dashboard Confessional.
Fair enough. Actually, that's based on what the little I know. That's not a bad comparison. But I'm also wondering that because one of the singles that Blank Theory put out was the cover of Sour Times.
Mm-hmm.
The Portishead cover. Yep.
I wonder if that would have been too soon after the actual Sour Times came out, which was I think 94. If that had been, they would have been like, "What are you doing? Stop!"
When did Beyond the Calm of the Corridor come out?
2002.
Really? Okay. I don't know.
It's either 2002 or 2003.
I mean, Korn managed the cover "Wicked" that came out in like 92.
2002.
No, I'm talking about Korn's "Wicked." Oh wait, no, you guys did. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I get you though.
Yeah,
because that would have been 92 to what? When was Life is Peachy?
96. 96. Yeah, so it's like
okay, so that's a 4-year window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I kind of almost think if Blank Theory didn't pick up with a different community that wasn't like nu metal, like I don't know how well they would have survived in like strictly nu metal.
Yeah.
Like I think like Orion already said, if they had stuck with like getting lumped in with like Stabbing Westward and Gravity Kills and touring with or God Lives Underwater probably would have worked really well with them.
Or Godflesh.
Godflesh. Actually, no. Run that.
No. I
that's what I was thinking.
Godhead's right.
I would agree with Godflesh. The industrial elements on Blank Theory's music seems to work pretty well with. Like I definitely see them in more in the industrial side than in a post-hardcore side, but maybe that's just because I'm focusing on very different elements of their music. But I definitely see them.
All of it's there.
Like, at that time as well, like late 90s, Godflesh had shaken off a lot of their industrial metal sound. And we're doing more like they still were industrial, but they had like drum and bass elements. They were slightly more melodic. They had nu metal elements in early 2000s, which is super weird.
What was that one drum and bass side project?
Candiria did drum and bass too.
I can't remember what the side project was.
I can find it for you real quick because one of my friends follows them on Spotify. Tech Level 2.
Okay.
That was Justin Broad Justin Broderick's drum and bass side project.
All right, I don't think I've heard that one. But he had one Godflesh album where they replaced the industrial drums with all drum and bass stuff. And it's Us and Them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's weird, but it's good. It's just good in a weird way. So thoughts on Apex Theory?
Ryan, do you want to go first?
Dig it up, da, 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 da. I don't know. I think that I really like what I've heard.
With a sock.
No, the Apex Theory is super fun. I definitely prefer on Tronic. Is that what he calls himself? The singer.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he calls himself Ontronic or something like that. But either way, the yellow cover self-titled EP and the Topsy Turvy, that's such a fun little record. I love that thing. A possibly and Shope Diggy. A lot of
Do you think Apex Theory would have slid into a I don't remember who we mentioned earlier who we thought would fit there.
I don't know who I would really
Incubus-ish.
Incubus. Yeah, I think they fit well into that like early Incubus, Hoobastank. Like I'd even throw in like Eve 6.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that just kind of weird alt rock kind of stuff. Like I feel like that would work, you know, especially because some of those bands, like especially Hoobastank and Incubus, were like funky new metal at one point, and you know, there's definitely a lot of that fun like odd time signature, fast like Ghost Note, almost drum and bass like drumming on some of the songs on Apex Theory's Topsy Turvy. You know,
they got a tour with Groovus Malt.
They got a tour. Oh, have you listened to Groovus Malt, John?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna introduce you. They're great. It's like jazzy rap rock. It's really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Like jazz fusion, rap rock, new metal-ish. It's great.
Good. New metal-ish later on. I feel like not with Traffic Light. I feel like they bring in a lot of the heavier guitar elements on their third record after.
I don't know. Mobile on Spirit of a Traffic Jam.
Oh,
I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I hear it. I know what you.
But yeah, no, Simon too. Yeah, no, that's a great band. I love Groovus Malt.
Yeah, Simon. I feel like the more new metal, and it's weird because Simon came out in like 2004, and I hear more new metal elements on Simon than I hear on Spirit of a Traffic Jam. But yeah, Groovus Malt is awesome. Plus, like turntablism and jazz. Fuck yeah, that's what I'm doing. I need to go to a jazz club, just start scratching.
Do it.
Throwing some jazz fusion stuff on the next Dropspike album.
Yeah, we need to, because Emil and I are doing that with Apotheosis.
All these songs are 15 minutes long.
They are, yeah, and it's just going up and down chromatic scales. Just
I used an FM synth that I plugged into a watermelon to get that wet sound.
Yeah. True analog, but with like a V. You know, true analog.
Yeah,
analog.
Yeah.
All right, so I have 4 bands left.
Okay.
I'm saving one specific band for last so you guys can gush as we close out.
Okay.
The next band I want to talk about is one that I personally think would have done possibly the best out of this entire list in 1998, but didn't quite do it because they pulled up in 2003. Twisted Method.
Ooh. Okay, interesting. Why? I'm curious. Like, why them? Like, where do you see them?
They were so like their attitude, their look, the bombastic nature, like the mixed. Like they had melody as well, so they had like songs that on their album that were built well for radio if given the right time. They swore a lot. Kids like swearing.
I know. Here's the I feel like their image was too goofy, like especially even at the time. Like they got made fun of relentlessly.
Yeah,
you know?
It was the
there's like the one image where the dude was like shirtless and he's wearing like centaur pants or something.
Whoa, I haven't seen this. Where is this?
Yeah, no, he wore the entire Ozfest tour. He had gorilla pants on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they were super
I see
goofy.
it.
But here's the thing: that album, Escape from Cape Coma. Like I haven't listened to the whole thing, but like Fled is a great song.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know where my allegiance is.
There's
my allegiance is. What the heck? Did my camera just go out?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I feel like with Twisted Method, it's really interesting because they're always seen as like that punching bag band. There's that one picture of them that everyone uses in their "why new metal is the worst genre
Yeah,
of
I know.
all time" list, and
That's
it's just like,
Are you kidding me?
honestly, it's only seen as stereotypical. I think they get a lot of that hate just from their imagery, but I feel like you throw them into '98, their imagery
Yeah, I
just
think
kind of fits.
'98 they would have worked.
Their
Am I back?
imagery would have
Yeah.
worked a lot more. Yep, you good. I feel like there's bands that looked wackier than them in '98,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
would have
which
fit
is-
like
yeah.
perfectly,
But
like
I
Cold
think,
Chamber.
like,
Yeah, but they were like perfect fodder for like that. "Oh,
yes,
you
they
listen
were.
to new
They
metal? You
were
need to listen
the
to
new metal is
Obituary."
dead band. They were
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
over.
Which is sad because
it.
I mean, as much as I was kind of ragging on them, I think I gave the wrong first impression, but I think the look was really fun, you know?
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna talk about a band with a goofy gimmick, the other Method band that I love, Twin Method, they were
Oh,
literally
yeah.
like the new metal Power Rangers.
I thought you were
like
gonna
they all
say
had
Methods
colored.
of Mayhem.
No.
Oh no,
I literally
Stripper
went on
new
the
metal.
podcast to trash that album.
dude. Okay, Orion. When we meet up, we're gonna do a photo shoot, right? We need a shit ton of hair gel, hairspray. We're just gonna
I'm not
put our
ruining
hands
my hair
up.
like that.
Do it.
We're gonna take pictures like this. Like we're gonna do the Twisted Method shit. We're gonna take funny pictures of us going like,
I'm just gonna do the freaking.
yeah,
Do it.
we gotta do that for like our band photos on Spotify. Yeah, we gotta just do funny.
Yeah.
It's
I,
goofy, it's fun, and honestly, they get hated on like way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I
like,
think
Fled is I will stick up for the song Fled.
I would recommend listening to the entire album because it is a really
Mhm.
good album, and some songs in there probably might surprise you at how like well they do the soft tracks. They do them very well.
There's
Um,
soft tracks on there.
Yes, there's a few.
Okay.
Head PE
but-
can do soft tracks really well too.
Yeah, they can. I met the singer of Twisted Method as well. He was a
Oh,
dick.
fun.
He was a dick to me.
Aw.
Yikes.
Because like
I'm sorry to
I
hear
met
that.
him. He was at Ozfest in '03, and he was in the crowd after the show, and I went up to him and tried to shake his hand. I was like, "You guys were awesome," and blah blah blah. And because I wasn't a woman, he looked at me, kind of scoffed, and walked off with a bunch of girls. And I was like, "Oh, I mean,
That's
I kind of
cringe.
get it, but yeah."
Nah, that's just really disrespectful.
Yeah, so I was
You
like,
gotta care
oh,
about
that
your
wasn't nice.
fans, man.
But I do, regardless of
Yeah.
that interaction, I do like them and I do like that album.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna leave a sour impression.
So
me.
the next one is another band who I saw at Ozfest 03. This was another band of like, these guys came in way too late. We don't care. Grade 8.
I can't speak on them. I've never listened to them. I
Grade
know of
8.
them, but
I know 8 Degrees.
No.
I don't know. Okay,
yeah,
no,
not the
them.
same band.
So,
Okay.
I know 8 Degrees too.
So
I get it,
Grade
yeah.
8 sounds like if you made Soil a rap metal band.
I have 2 of their songs on my liked. Apparently, I
I-
didn't realize. I'd have to
yeah.
like re-listen to them, but honestly,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
So
not
I
well.
think
versed
you
in
know
them.
my opinions on Soil.
yeah, they're not very good.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
I like Scars, and that's kind of it. All right, so the last 2, I know one of them you guys love, but
Okay.
we'll go into the other one. Elements 80.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
dude, they're awesome.
Yeah, no, they're really good, and they would have worked in '98.
Yeah.
They are just heavy enough to also. I feel like they could have ridden the wave both ways. They could have gone easily into the metalcore direction. They could have stayed in their new metal direction. They had that heavy groove element, and I see a lot of bands that they would have synergized and toured
Yeah,
with really well.
I mean, they had a lot of
Yeah.
fantastic songs on that first album. It was just way too late. Like, I feel like, okay, as stupid as the song title is, Pancake Land, and like
Yeah.
Rabies, and the Scars, the Echo song,
I love
Broken
Scars.
Promises.
Mhm.
Scars is great, and Broken Promises. Rabies is my favorite song on
One
that
of the
album. And I feel
songs,
like
there was one song on a video game soundtrack that did, I think it was
Was
Broken
it-
Promises.
Was it Twisted Metal?
No, it was in one of the racing ones.
Is that
Need-
not?
One of the Need for Speed
Oh, Need for
games.
Speed.
it was on Need for Speed Underground. It was Broken Promises.
Yeah,
Okay.
like that one.
Invisible by Hotwire was on there too. Sick.
Yeah, like no, the racing game soundtracks from like 2000 to 2005, all excellent. Same with a lot of the sports games. Like a lot of the Madden ones had like new metal songs in them.
Yeah.
NHL as well.
Didn't Dry Kill Logic make the theme song for like an MLB
Baseball.
game? Yeah, they made
The
like
riot at the bat rack.
Yeah.
They invented baseball.
They straight up invented baseball. That's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. I'm so surprised. I hecking love Dry Kill Logic. I wish baseball was real.
Dry Kill Logic is awesome. I'm happy they're back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and their Twitter's active. If you fucking mention them once, they'll retweet you. It's awesome. I can't
That's
wait
awesome.
to see that cover because they're gonna see it, and then they're gonna
Yeah.
go through my channel and find out that I called their singer Heisenberg.
They'll be fine with it.
Yo, what if we did a song with DKL?
That'd be so cool.
That'd be awesome. I feel like they'd be down.
For sure.
That'd be awesome if I could do a song
Mhm.
with Dry Kill Logic.
Yes.
All right, you
Please
ready?
reach out
You
to
ready
us.
for your
Cliff.
last band that you get
Yes.
to talk about and tell me how they would have done in 1998?
Okay.
Blind Spot. Go.
That's a hard
I
one.
have. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we both have a lot of opinions on that band.
Do you want to go first? I already talked about them earlier in the show, so
Yeah, I
like I had
remember.
my. Mhm.
Oh man. So with that first album, the self-titled one, I feel like that would have been absolutely. I feel like I'm gonna say it. That would have knocked Hybrid Theory out of the water.
Mhm.
That album would have knocked Hybrid Theory out of the water.
I
The
can see that.
scratching on that album is fantastic. It has a lot of really unique samples. You know, they had a lot of variety on there. Like you'd have a song like Room to Breathe, and then you'd have a song like Flexed, where it's like a completely different genre, and it's like, this is insane. Or like So Us Is This is a fantastic like little, you know, the acronym. This is us and us is this. You know, it's like it's
better
just such
swing
a
and pray
fun-
you don't miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
That is such a great song. And then like Nil by Mouth is such like that's a perfect angry rap metal song.
Yeah.
Like the whole chorus is just so it's so infectious and vulgar, and it's like
And
that would have done perfect in 1998.
they would have fit perfectly in just general the scene at the time.
Yeah.
Their music sounded like exactly like the angst that existed then. And
Yeah.
shit, the angst that was like around in 2003, whether it was like basically dying off and Blind Spot were just unfortunate enough to have an album come out then. Maybe it's because the music was just hitting New Zealand scene. I don't know what it was, but they managed to write a timepiece because that album doesn't sound like a 2003 new metal album. It
It's
sounds
not
like it's
dated
from
at all.
2000. It's so weird. It feels, and it's really interesting because there's bands like Sunk Loto that like hit the curve like before it was even a thing. Like their first EP sounds like early new metal, like surprisingly, and that stuff is like from 98, and Sunk
Yeah.
Loto onwards like we're ahead of the curve, including the fact of Between Birth and Death has like metalcore elements that are really good, and then even
And
their
honestly,
album
it was done some like there's honestly like Kill Switch Engage moment before Kill Switch
Yeah.
Engage even like hit the
Yeah.
scene. I mean,
There's-
I think Kill Switch Engage were around in 2003, but it's like
Yes.
I don't know, like I'd say a song like Inside is so heavy, like it's amazing.
and
But back to Blind Spot. And
Mhm.
like End of Silence, like in 2006, like it went such a like much more melodic direction. Like that would have been perfect. Like in my
that came out in
universe,
2003. Yes,
the
if
song
you-
Lull would have been on pop radio like all the time. Like that
If
song
you-
is like perfect soft rock. And then you'd have songs like Yours Truly on there where it's like that bombastic radio new metal with the, you know, screaming parts and the really hooky chorus. Like they do a lot right.
if you take their second album, move it to 2003, take their first album, move it to 98, there you go. And then they
Yeah.
would have had like move their second album to 2002, 2001, like right before it dies. So because they had a chance that they could have gone into either direction. And considering their
Yeah.
music now, they would have been creative enough to figure a way out of the new metal box before the ship completely sank, be it
Yeah.
through metalcore, be it through post grunge, be it through whatever. I feel like that band is creative enough that they would have found a way to build a way out of a sinking ship. Like they definitely have that. And
I would like to hear Blind Spots like Hate in Winter. You know what I'm kind of saying?
yeah, for sure. Like, so I don't know if you've heard Hate in Winter, John, but like it's Sunk Loto's 2007 demo. I don't know
I
if
thought it
you
was 2006.
2006, 2007. I'm not too
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's their
My
lost album.
It's like
my
a lot. Yeah.
knowledge of Sunk Loto begins and ends with Society Anxiety and
Yeah.
Big Picture Lies.
Okay. I love both those records, by the way.
Yeah,
Fucking
Society
awesome.
Anxiety is a great EP.
So Between Birth and Death, amazing new metal album, has lots of really good metalcore elements, like we were talking about. And Hate and Winter goes into this much heavier, almost near death metal direction. It's kind of like how Super Heist's first demo was like a death metal record before they went full new metal West Coast hip hop. And
I don't think I've
yeah.
ever even heard that.
Oh yeah, it's good
Are
shit.
you talking about Chrome Matrix?
Yeah, it's not Chrome Matrix, Apocalypse, the EP.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
It's an EP that they did before like the song Pulse and Watch Your Head Out or whatever that song is called.
Check
like,
Your Head Up.
Yeah, Check Your Head Up. Yeah. It sounds like early Fear Factory because they had their keyboard player during that time as well. So imagine death metal but with like
a cassette
weird
EP.
bleep bloop whoopee keyboards. Like it's really interesting.
Okay.
Very, very good stuff. What?
Nothing. I just found out on that Apocalypse EP, that Super Heist, that the vocalist credited himself as Burger.
Yeah, he's Burger Man.
He's Burger.
He's Burger.
Yeah.
Hamburger.
Burger.
But yeah,
That's
I'd want to
funny.
see honestly, if Blindspot releases this album that they've been working on, like I know I've heard that I saw the interview with their singer Damien, and he's like, what we're gonna do is release the album in EPs or in like volumes, so it's 3-song volumes, and then it makes up a full album. I don't know if that's really gonna work. Like, it's gonna keep retention, I guess, listener retention, but at this point in time, like, no one's gonna remember the first volume. Like, I don't remember any of the songs. I remember Rest in Peace, and that's
there's a pro and a con to that, because if they do, like, yeah, the retention won't be there, but if they continuously release, like, and they keep a schedule and they release 3 songs at a time, that by the time the second group of 3 songs come out, you may have forgotten the first 3, but you'll be like, oh, I really like these 3. I'm going to go back and listen to the first 3.
Yeah.
And then same with the next one. And like, so
Yeah.
that might be a good thing, but it
So
depends on if like the audience, like they grab an audience. If they don't grab an audience, it's pointless. But
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I
they
feel like
just
they have a
released a
decent
single
audience in New
recently.
Zealand.
Oh no, dude, they have like a decent audience internationally too. Like I feel like there's enough of people in the new metal crowd, both just online and like in the metal crowd, that have like found blind spots like miraculously. One of my buddies is actually going to a blind spot show recently. He's gonna
No, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he lives in New Zealand, so he was just like, and I told him about the band. I was like, dude, how have you not heard of them? You're like in the metal scene in New Zealand, and he's never heard of Blind Spot. Then I showed him Blind Spot. He's like, whoa, these guys are really good. And yeah, now he's gonna go see them live. So he's gonna let me know. Yeah, so please, Carl, please go back and join Blind Spot, please. I want more turntables in new metal, and you're a phenomenal turntablist. Please come back.
Well,
We
you
will
need
start
to
a
put
revolution.
in more. Doug needs to put in more work to get more notoriety back to DJ playing in new metal.
We're the taproot of turntablism.
There you go.
No, don't say that.
You are in a band with a Steven Richards clone, dude. What do you expect?
Don't say that.
I need to, when I post this episode and I put it on like Twitter or something, I'm tagging Taproot in it.
Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry.
Because
I'm
the
not
thing
sorry
is,
because
they'll
I love
like
you.
it.
You're one of my favorite bands, Taproot. I love you guys so much.
This is the contrast in dude. This is Dropspike, right? It's like we have these bands that are like, this is us, and then the thumbs are like complete opposite directions.
Just it's like we got the thumbs here, and then like over at Doug's side, it's like Barn and Barn and Broader and like insert hardcore band here. It's like Duran Gray and Taproot, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, and 54 Vision. I fucking love 54.
Yeah, I
54 Vision.
I remember listening to Disney Fist. I don't remember anything from it, but I need to try it again.
Yeah, those 2 albums are so good, like insanely good. Shit, they would have done
Power in Hand is the song that I always remember. I really like that song.
Oh yeah, I know that song. That's from their second record, right? Yeah.
Also, both of us really like Zebrahead.
Yeah, we do.
I like the first 2 Zebrahead albums. I've never heard anything else.
Have you listened to MFZB?
No, is that the predecessor?
That's the Blue album. That's the one after Waste of Mind. Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't heard that because I
Yeah,
know
you should listen to
Waste
it.
of
That's
Mind,
yeah.
and I know
Playmate of the Year. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know a band that you should have put on that list?
Mm.
I feel like V-Mob would have been a really interesting
That would have
band
been
to put on that
interesting.
list.
Yeah.
V-Mob, no joke. Like when I hit the 20, V-Mob was like the next band.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, because V-Mob is like we're talking about them like pretty recently as well.
Yeah.
Orion and I were in a voice chat and I was showing him like V-Mob live shows. We were like pointing at how the turntables in the mix sound like they're recorded over the actual track because they're so much louder than everything else.
Yeah.
And their turntable is Tommy Donnerson is in all their demos, and then in the actual EP that they release with like a label, he's not on there.
That was
because
Equilibrium, right?
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
he's not on Equilibrium, but he's on all their demos.
That makes a lot of sense now because I was like, I don't remember scratching in V-Mob.
Yeah,
It was only in the demos.
Because Equilibrium's the only one I really know.
Yeah, so
Same here.
He's on
I
the
know like
sample.
one of them. They have a Reflection, the one that came out before the actual EP. I think that's the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I keep getting
So-
the one because Switched is plural, V-Mob is singular.
I guess. I mean, you could kind of switch it
Well,
up.
no,
but-
Switched is Reflections, V-Mob is Reflection.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Reflection. But that 2000 sampler demo is like, it's top notch. It's solid stuff.
I think if given a chance, I think V-Mob could have done some stuff in the late 90s.
Yeah,
Like,
for
but-
sure.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I could see them touring with Slipknot and Down the Sun.
Yeah,
I'd see them touring with Fear Factory, honestly. I feel like they have enough.
That
it
too.
would have worked.
I feel like they have
Yeah,
enough
late
of that-
90s Fear Factory, like obsolete period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do it.
I'd
Or
see
like
that.
M3 era Mushroom Head.
Oh yeah.
That's another
Mushroom
interesting
Head.
pair.
Mushroom Head's another band where I don't know how well they would have actually fit in the late 90s. Like,
They're too
Well, they were
avant-garde.
around in the late 90s. I mean,
They were.
had
No,
a
I mean,
cult
like, say-
following.
take Double X and give it a proper
That
push.
doesn't count. That's a compilation album.
Okay, then take 13,
Okay.
put it in 98. I don't know.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. That's one of my favorite albums. I love that album.
me too. I love
It's like
that
so
album.
varied. It's so varied and unique. I feel like it would have just carved its own niche rather than fit into anything because Mushroom Head, like as much as like I mean, just objectively speaking, they took a lot from Faith No More.
It
and,
probably
like,
would have started this avant-garde new metal
That's-
thing.
Yeah, they would have started their own kind of path, and I feel like they kind of did after because I feel like even today, Mushroom Head have that like really cult following of people that it's like, yeah, we like to do that piano industrial like heavy groovy new metal stuff, and it's like, I don't know, it would have been a really unique sound, and it was when they were doing Super Buick and M3 and stuff.
I have
The first
another
album was
band
just weird.
that would probably do pretty well in 98. 5.0.
Yeah.
I saw this one clip on YouTube
But-
that really made me mad.
Yeah?
Do you
What
know
happened?
Nick Nocturnal?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
So he did this video and it was kind of clickbait. It was like new metal was actually good, and I watched it and he was like going through the Spotify new metal generation playlist and he got to Double X minus by 5.0, and he was like, yo, this is a cool opening riff. And then when he did that vocal intro with the pow, he was like, he laughed at it and turned the song off. He was like, this is whack, bro. Pow, that's so lame. And it's like, you didn't even listen to the whole song.
No.
Kapow is like the coolest shit in the fucking world, okay? Like
Like
if a new
that's
metal
so
vocalist,
I mean, it's corny, but it's like so new metal and
Who
so like it's
cares?
fun. Like
Incubus does Kapow like all the fucking time. Throughout
Yeah.
yeah, that was
science,
all over science.
Science
That's one
is
of the-
Kapow. The album.
That's one of those YouTube personalities that I want to like him on surface level, but every time I try and watch any of his stuff. Same with who's the guy that Kirk hates?
That's a
There's
lot of people.
No, the specific one. The punk rock NBA guy.
yeah.
Oh, Finn
yeah.
McKenty.
Yeah,
I
that
don't like
guy.
him either.
Like every
Yeah.
once in a while he'll post something and I'll go, this is kind of funny, but like 60 seconds into his video, I'm like, all right, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I couldn't
And
agree
Nick
more.
he's like,
Nocturnal,
I don't know.
Nick
have the
Nocturnal's
same
the same
opinion.
way.
Yeah.
Which is the only time I've ever actually liked him was he occasionally does these how to write this style song in like
Those videos
a
are
day.
funny.
Those I like. But yeah, when he's going in on like genres and doing the fake live stream thing, that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Just
Likewise.
Yeah.
Stop
I mean,
taking
I've
shit so
discovered some
seriously.
good hardcore bands from punk rock MBA. Like I found like a good like there's this one Christian hardcore band called what the heck are they called? Uh oh my gosh, why am I blanking out on their name? It's not Undeceived, that's the Extol album. Unashamed.
Okay.
At least I think that's what they're called. Yeah, Unashamed. Yeah.
What kind of like hardcore is it? Is it like New York?
No, it's like that
hardcore?
really raw 90s style, like speed
Okay.
hardcore, like very shouty.
Okay.
Okay.
Like check out the song This Dividing Wall.
Send it over whenever.
I'll send it over. I'll go and send it
Yeah,
over
go
now.
for it. I'm curious. But yeah, I feel like oh, thanks.
Oh, I didn't even see your message. And yes, I do listen to Twin Falls.
Yeah, Twin Falls is cool. I find them really interesting because they have a turntablist that's very involved in their sound, but then they have this post grungy aspect to their music, but they're also funky. I feel like they really change genres depending on what song you're listening to. They either have like a straight new metal song, they have like a post grunge song with a really catchy chorus, and then they have like the kind of Mr. Bungle-esque like funk metal thing with like scratching going on. It's like, god damn, these guys are like all over the place, and honestly, I like it. It's good stuff. I'll send it over your way too.
All right,
Detox,
cool.
if you're
Yeah, do that.
curious. Yeah. It's like some random new metal band I found. Like one day I was just, I thought wouldn't it be funny if I like picked a band, then just went fans also like, and just like keep going through that on Spotify until I find this
Yeah.
like black hole
Hey,
where
that's
it's
how I
just
found
like,
Media Lab.
damn, okay. Yeah, I need to do that more often because I ended up finding bands like 616 Undone, 54 Vision,
Media
8
Lab is
Degrees
so
through that
good.
way.
Yeah, 616 Undone is also great. Santiago
Yeah.
introduced me to that band, and I was
Also,
like,
616 are from like 97.
yeah,
So
that
it's
album
like,
came out in 97. It was
which
super
is-
ahead of its time, and the production is great.
they're scratching on the song King during this one little section, and it's just like a little triplet fill, and it's so cool because I showed it to Emil and he's like, we're doing that in our songs. I don't fucking care. Like instead of a drum fill, we're doing like this cool like and it's like, yeah. That's
It
so
definitely
cool.
make things more interesting. Do that.
Yeah. And I've done it in Nest on Dropspike. There's a couple parts where
I
it's
can't
like
wait for
cool,
I can't wait for everybody to hear Nest. That
oh
song is
yeah, dude.
so good.
Dude, the entire EP is it's good. So
Yeah.
far, and like
Yeah,
just gotta
Nest
keep
and
working.
Embers are my favorite songs on the EP. Like I even like it more than Band I Drunk Black, which was my favorite song before. But
Awesome.
And we're getting that before the end of the year.
hopefully it'll be
Yeah,
a Christmas present.
hopefully.
And
Yeah.
it's too late to be on any year-end list, but I'll re-release it with instrumentals and a couple demos next year and see what it does.
There you go.
Yeah, we gotta do we gotta do a remix, like a couple of remixes.
If I get enough
too.
money on Bandcamp, if people like actually buy it, I'll do like a limited CD run for it.
That would be actually awesome. I would love to have a physical.
And then I'll
You gotta-
selectively choose who I send them to, so that way certain people don't get it.
There you go. You did it.
Because the last thing I want is for that album to show up on Discogs for like $100 just because some dude's like, underground new metal with a limited. Like I will literally.
Honestly, dude,
Yeah.
I feel like we gotta get like at least 2 of those people to get it because I mean, even though they are scalping us for the money, I feel like
I'm not letting anybody scalp my
it's
album. Sorry.
It's good promo. Like,
well, the thing is,
one.
as long as you still have a copy of it, they don't have any power over it. So they're
Plus
like,
it's
"Oh,
on
I'm going to
YouTube.
put it up
Here's
on
what I'm planning to
Discogs."
do for the. I'm planning to do a digital CD release, which is basically just like anybody who buys it on Bandcamp gets digital liner notes, a tray card insert, CD picture, whatever. So it'd basically just be like, you don't just get the scans, you get the original Photoshop exports, you know. So
and
that
if
way,
you really want to, you can print it all out and you can have your own CD. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even let people make bootlegs, you know.
It's still up in the air, but I brought this up with Orion last time, and I was thinking of making a sample pack for the EP.
And then we can sell that too. That's happened before. Like DJ Life did that.
Yeah,
you're nothing like DJ Life, at least in personality wise.
Ooh, dude, what if like I just we did a live show
work
and I
with
just turned on a flanger and phaser and just start spinning my decks
Oh,
as
dang it,
loud as
Gavin!
possible.
You almost ruined the whole song. You almost
Yeah.
deleted the whole
What if
song.
I just went into our stems on Nest and deleted half the song?
You can't do that because you already emailed them to me.
Oh shit, you're right. God damn.
Is
I
this
can't-
the end of Drops? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
So
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
just
starting
pull
Glass Roses.
a pitch
Oh.
shifter, and then just put your samples at the end of the album.
Oh
There
yeah,
you go.
free samples. Yeah, there you go.
Ooh. Okay, we could. Okay,
We
so
could do that.
we could, yeah. Because the thing is, like, I need to finish working on those last two songs, and then I need to go back and listen to everything we've put together, pick out all the samples, pitch correct them, and get them like in the cleanest audio I can. Send them over to Orion. Just go like, cool. This is a sample pack, and honestly, I feel like it's free content for me because we give that to people. And I'd be like, cool, do you want me to teach you how to scratch our songs? And I can
Yeah.
actually do like tutorials and stuff.
Like I've already had people ask me how to play Bandai Drone Fly.
Yeah.
Like I've
It'd
had
be a
people
really
reach out
good
like, how do you play
opportunity
this
for,
riff?
like,
It's like
content.
it's literally all sus2 chords.
Yeah.
The thing
And
is,
it's good
that's a
content.
great compliment, though. Like,
Yeah.
this is really cool. Can you show me how to do it? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I was very flattered and I was like, oh, I will gladly teach you. That's very nice.
Yeah. And the whole idea of it is like I want to try and get turntablism not just recognized, but like just more involved in the scene. I want to try and I don't want to separate it from its roots in hip hop, but there are turntablists out there like me and like Musin that like jumped into it from the aspect of metal and not from the aspect of hip hop. Like I know he's really into DJ Babu and he really likes what are they called? I'm forgetting his rap crew's name. Dilated Peoples. And like he does have like the hip hop aspect of it, but like a lot of what he does is very like rooted into metal music and new metal in particular, and new metal turntablism, which is such a small niche. There's like 5 people I know that actively talk about it and like
Yeah.
actually do anything related to new metal turntablism. So
More genres of music should embrace it. Like
I-
they should
I-
embrace
I-
other elements from other, like mix it all together.
yeah,
Bring
and
'em all in.
and that's kind of what I want to do with not just with Dropspike, but with Apotheosis. If we go into that jazzier, more prog direction, I still want turntables to be a part of our writing process. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna just
Yeah.
drop the instrument because it's 2005 and now I need to play the
Yeah.
keyboards because otherwise I'm gonna get kicked out of the bands.
Yeah.
No, like I feel like it still has its place, and I know it was seen as the corny scratch instrument back in like 2005, which is why most people dropped it. But it has its place, and I've
Yeah.
And
worked
it
with
always
it.
sounds
I
good.
really I
Yeah.
really hate that a lot of the YouTube music reviewers who like talk about turntable, they always drop that one specific Metalocalypse clip. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, rap
Yes.
rock band
Rap
with a
rock band with the
DJ.
DJ. Yeah,
Yeah, that's us, mother.
Somebody tell this band what year it is. It's like, oh, come on.
Turntables work.
It's a great
And-
show, though. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
Well,
knock
the thing
Herbie
is,
Han-
that show worked because it made fun of every genre.
Yeah,
Like it did
yeah,
make
made
fun of new metal, but it
everything,
made
yeah.
fun of all of it.
Well, like
I
Herbie
do
Hancock
coke.
did turntablism with jazz, and it worked phenomenally well. There's this other like jazz group that I listen to called Buckshot LaFunk, and they have a turntablist as well.
Never heard of them.
They are so cool. It's jazz with turntablism.
That
Fucking
sounds
awesome.
awesome. Send that to me.
It's so good. Groovis Malt has a turntablist, and it's also jazz fusion.
Yeah, and
Vane has a
Destination on that Groovis Malt album has DJ Kilmore from Incubus on
It
it.
does, and he sampled the bus breaks. There's this I'm sorry, like it no context, it makes no sense. There's this random video of Chris Kilmore talking about his sampling, and he's like, yeah, there was this bus I was taking, and the breaks it made this amazing screeching noise. So I brought a microphone out, sampled it. And I was like, what song is that on? Because I have that sample on the Kilmore sample pack.
And it's on the Groovis Malt song.
It's on the Groovis Malt album. And I was like, oh shit, of course. And it's like an integral part of the intro. It's
Yeah,
like,
and
wow.
it makes sense in the album's context because the whole thing is like about like, 9-to-5 workplace culture and, American life, through like the lens of like somebody so burnt out from that, scene.
Yeah.
And, if you listen to a song like I'm just gonna start gushing about Groovis Malt,
Shit,
filming in a
I'll
city or mobile, like the whole concept of that record just becomes really clear.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even know. I'd call that like an X-ray into American idealism. It's just like a really interesting listen, like if you get the chance.
And meritocracy too.
Yeah,
Like, I feel
meritocracy.
like I think the album kind of covers like I don't want to say the failures of meritocracy, but maybe like the kind of falsehoods of
Yeah.
working yourself to death ain't gonna get you to the top of the ladder.
And the
It's
whole
gonna
like
get you, yeah.
the deception of what the American dream really looks like, and
Which
Yeah, I mean it's less deep than I'm probably, I don't know.
Honestly,
listen-
I feel like
yeah.
us reading into it is gonna get more people to like go like,
Yeah,
"Whoa,
I
who
mean
the
it is
fuck
pretty
this
deep, and if you
gorgeous
listen to the next
guys?"
album, Simon, there's definitely some deeper moments on there too, and also some very, very real moments. Like there's a straight up like hip hop song on there called "What Ladder," and it's literally a song that's just about like, hey, we are like a 7-piece band that gets paid in beer at shows. We need more money than this. We work our butts
Yeah,
off to
I
perform for
love
you
that
guys, and this
song.
is what we get. It's just very like, talking about the underground band kind of lifestyle. It's like, beer is not a currency. We need to get paid so we can actually pay for our gear and pay for the band and pay for everything that
Yeah,
we do at home.
survive.
And, yeah, it's a very real song, and I suggest anybody listening to this podcast to listen to that song. It's very, yeah.
And their turntablist Johnny Longburns is fucking awesome.
And their keyboardist Gavin Castleton is literally amazing. Even the solo stuff I've listened to. He actually sent me one of his mixtape EPs or whatever when I bought the Spirit of a Traffic Jam album off of their Bandcamp. And
No
it's good.
Hell yeah.
It's called
Very
#blessed.
Nice. I'm pooped. I'm tired.
I feel ya.
But okay, that's gonna bring this long Talk episode to a close. Thank you for joining me, Doug. Thank you for joining me, Orion. It has been
Of course. Thank you so much
It
for having me
was a
on.
blast. Yeah. I
And
really
for
enjoyed
anyone
this.
who's still sticking around, you better be getting that Dropspike album.
Yo, Emil, what's up?
As soon as it
We're gonna
comes
be
out,
playing some Dota after
you go
this.
play the
Yeah.
crap out of it. And then you give Orion and Doug all the money, and then there you go.
I will use the money to fuel my crippling CD buying. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna put it,
There you go.
I'm gonna put it in savings and maybe use it to do a limited CD run, or I'll just print them myself. We'll see.
Do it.
I need some new turntable decks, guys.
I'll pull
There
a
you go.
holiday. I'll pull a
Support
holiday
them.
perk and do some wristbands.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need
Do it.
merch. We got
But,
it. We got it.
But all right. So take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Have fun.